Chaos time. That's right, chaos time. I'll be right back. It is time for chaos. It is the second night of free agency. It is the recap, and I will see you soon. I would regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
We have one of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game, and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take Aquanu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold?
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold, or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly here we are today. You can't get rid of him.
Right. It's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Okay, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
You know, what would, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smack.
Oh, yeah. Here we are. And we are going to get started on a recap of day 2. But before we do that, I need to introduce some people. We first start with our expert, especially when it comes to safeties and cornerbacks around the league. It's perfect. Dante. What's up, brother?
Jeremy, how are you, man?
Okay, but before we get started,
you change up my intro music every time. It's fabulous. It's fabulous.
Well, now we're going to bring the man with the moves, the man with the data, the man with the information. Watch UK99.
How we doing, guys?
Okay.
What's up, Dom?
I'd have to say we're doing pretty good. Pretty good.
Hey, is this the first time we've been on the show at the same time, I think?
You're absolutely right. This is the first time that we have been on the show at the same time, and it's been way too long. I blame Jeremy.
Wow, mark the date. This is big.
Yeah. I've been waiting to do it for so long. It's like, oh, man, I got Dom on every Sunday. I got Adam on every Wednesday. They're both amazing. Man, I got to put these two together, and it's dynamite. And it's like, once we get Nick in here, it's going to be out of control.
Yes. Yes. I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually just did a little Facebook show with him. He's getting his channel started up, but he has a Facebook group that he's getting the show going on Facebook. And we just finished up. We were talking a little bit, just did a short little show. And it was fun. We were talking about what we're going to talk about, man. And I'm hoping that you guys, I know Adam will pull out lots of statistics. Dom, I know you'll talk more about the player and the type of, what their strengths are and what we could look for and what we could hope for. Just to shout out the chat. I see we got some people watching. We got some people already commenting. We have John Post, the postman from Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports. While he's doing dishes. You do dishes, dude? I would always have him. I have him pegged as a guy who just orders out all the time and just goes out and grabs food. Not as a guy who actually has dishes. Friggle D, what's up? What's up? He kind of semi-talked me into doing the show tonight. So thank you, Friggle D. But anyway, let's get started. Why don't we start with the first? Oh, what's up? What's up, Nick? We might have to bring him on soon. Let's start with the first signee of the day. Okay, and I believe that was Reed.
Yes,
that's right.
Okay, so why don't we start with Dom? Let's talk about this guy.
Well, you know what? I'm happy. I'm happy with the selection, and I definitely think that everything, with oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Who's the other cornerback? The dude from the Patriots, Carolina. Help me out here.
Gilmore.
Yeah, thank you. I I for some reason, something just smelled fishy to me about our interest in Gilmore. I don't know if it was Gilmore's camp trying to ramp it up so he can get more money. I don't know if it was that, but the fit wasn't there. I would have been happy with him, but Reed was something or somebody that a lot of people really, talked about on the back end. Somebody that said, hey, if we miss this tier 1 and 2, let's point at these guys. Dante Jackson from Carolina was one. Reed was one. The guy from Oakland, whose name is skipping my mind as well, Hayward. He was another one. Reed's a good player, and what I like about him is his tenacity, his aggressiveness. He's a phenomenal open field tackler, and after he was picked, just like everyone, I did my due diligence and looked him up and PFF and all over the place. And I didn't realize how well he rated out on both, versus both the pass and the run. He's got his limitations. I know everyone's going to say, oh, he's only 5'8", 5'9", so on and so forth, but he plays a lot bigger, and more importantly, he is a perfect schematic fit for us. He's familiar with Saleh. Saleh was coached him up in San Francisco, and they run the same kind of tendencies in their defense that he ran in Seattle. And I couldn't be happier, put it that way. And all along, and Jeremy knows this because he and I talked about it a lot. Like I'm not going to sit here and say I pegged Reed as a target, but I said watch JD do what he always does, and we're going to bypass the top guys, and we're going to target on those other guys, those second and third tiers that can come in, play a role, know the scheme, and really be effective. I think that was what I saw JD do these whole first 2 days of free agency, is really target guys that come in and know and play and know the scheme and fit the scheme perfectly.
Cool. Adam?
Yeah. I got to be honest. I think before this free agency period, I'd never even heard of the guy. Yeah, he was not a name that I was familiar with. So I had to look into this a little bit. And the first thing, when I saw that he was 5'9", I thought, we just drafted a slot cornerback. What do we need? What's this guy for? This guy's going to play outside. So, yeah, but I hear people talking about, well, he plays bigger than his height, which Dom, you alluded to. So it's something that we're going to have to see. But, the bottom line is this team is 30th in pass defense. It's hard for him to be a downgrade over what we've had. I do find it interesting that, he's pretty much going to be a starter. And I just find it hard to believe that Hall and Eccles are competing for a starting spot. I just can't imagine Bryce Hall not starting for this team. Maybe I'm just sold on him, but I love Bryce Hall. But I do. But let's see. So last year the Jets only had 2 cornerbacks or 2 interceptions recorded by a cornerback, and Brandon Eccles recorded both of them.
Sure.
So and then let's see. In his 2 seasons with the Seahawks, Reed has 4 interceptions and 17 pass breakups. So that is pretty encouraging that he does have a nose for the ball. But like you said, from what I'm seeing, good against the run and good against the pass. Looking at stats, we mentioned 2 interceptions in each of the last 2 years. Not a guy who's going to go after the quarterback or anything like that. That's fine. But yeah, the pass breakups, I guess, is the most telling stat. And the number has steadily increased from 2 to 7 to 10. So it seems like this is the kind of free agent that Joe Douglas would go after, a guy who's approaching his prime. So, hey, I haven't really paid attention to the guy playing before, but I will now.
Yeah.
So we, it's interesting because I hear different people reporting that there are some that think Eccles has the higher ceiling than than Bryce Hall. So it's interesting. But I think one thing we should remember is that you're not going to see any of these guys like just on the bench and you don't hear their name anymore. We played a lot of 2 tight end, a lot of 2-5 alignments, in certain situations. We played a lot of it where there was only 2 linebackers out there. So I think, whoever starts, however it is, it's going to be a rotational thing. You're going to see Eccles in there still, or you're going to see Hall in there still, and you're going to, you'll see Reed in there. I think it'll be more of, obviously, my guess is at this point of their careers, no matter who wins out long term, I'm expecting it to be Hall and Reed, but a lot of Eccles mixed in. I think you'll see, Carter the second, and obviously covering the slot, and you'll see Guidry still mixed into the mix, unless we go out and draft another guy, right? I mean, like, who knows what we're going to do? Because with JD, we just don't know 100% what he's going to do. But I like it, man, because it's what you guys are saying. He didn't go for the big stars. He's building a foundation. He's building a team with depth and lots of talent. And that's exactly what we need. We don't need to just bring in a few stars on both sides of the ball. That doesn't work. We know that doesn't work. We need to build a foundation. And then I think in the future, you might see hopefully we'll develop our own superstars and we won't need to go outside of the organization, but you might see one day kind of what the Rams did, right? Last year or during the year, bring in those final little pieces, and do some swindling to put the icing on the cake. But we got to build an organization, and a team. And I think we took in the last 2 days, I see so much growth and positivity that we are moving in that direction. So happy about it. And what I really love and I'm really excited about is the draft flexibility that we have now.
Yeah, that's true. It gives us the ability right now. We have total control over this draft with the 4 picks within the top 40, a lot of capital. We have the ability to move up and down, left and right, if we want to. And like I said, we weren't going to, I think I talked about this yesterday or on Sunday with you. We're not going to fill every hole. We weren't going to fill every hole in this, the beginning of this free agency period. We're probably not going to fill every hole. We wouldn't have filled every hole through the draft, but it gives us that much more flexibility, right? Right here, right now with the moves that JD has made, and getting back to Reed real quick, because I want to dovetail on what Adam was talking about. I don't know if I buy into the narrative either that Hall and Eccles are going to be competing for the other spot. Jeremy said it, very eloquently. He talked about rotation. We know that Saleh is and Ulbrich, they want to bring in fresh bodies all the time. They want, 8 guys on the line that, on the front that can sub in and out. And it's the same thing on their defense backs. Don't remember, we still have Dunn who can be serviceable. I don't know if we've officially re-signed Guidry as well. These are all guys that will or could play a part. And I think if they're all on the team, at some point they will. You know what I mean? I don't think it's just we're going to lock in 2 corners and Michael Carter in the slot and call it a day. I think you're going to see a lot of rotation, a lot of moving parts.
And remember this, we talk about, okay, this guy's a 1, this guy's a 2. We do this with wide receivers. We do this with running backs. We do it with cornerbacks. Guys, that's not how this coaching system works. We don't have a guy who's going to shadow another receiver. They play sides of the field. We're not looking for a quote unquote we're not looking for a lockdown, shutdown cornerback necessarily. What we're looking for is a reliable starter. Bryce Hall is that. Brandon Eccles could become that. DJ Reed apparently is that. So if they're going to rotate them in and out, and maybe it does depend a little bit on matchups, whoever the hot hand is, and that's who they go with, then you know what? That's fine. But this is not Revis and Cromartie. This is a different way of coaching it, and we got to treat it as such.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree more.
So someone's we have John Nolte asking about the chat about the cap. So without restructuring CJ, if we don't do that right now, this is my estimate just from the work that me and Dom did in the offseason simulator and getting used to the money, and assuming we're going to cut the guys that we haven't cut yet that we're going to cut, like Griffin and GVR, and freeing up that money. My math has it right now, especially with the easy cuts, the guys that will have no problem cutting. My math has it that we probably have right now about 20 to 22 million. 13 million has to be designated for the draft class. So we're looking at like 7 to 8 million left, maybe a little bit more, which I think JD might except for he might cut that in half and sign another guy for $4 or $5 million. Maybe I see him maybe holding on to that flexibility, that cap flexibility till after the draft. He likes to do that. But if we restructure CJ and take, let's say, $8 million back on the books, also that could bring us up to more like $16 million after paying the draft class, and then we could look at another $8 million guy and still have flexibility. So there's still some things we could do, but I think what we've seen, the bulk of it, and I'll see if you guys agree with me. That's my estimation based on my calculations. You guys might know about money I don't know about, but that's my feel.
I mean, I haven't broken down all the cap space at this point. I think a lot of the different websites like Over the Cap, they're only going to start updating once these deals actually become official. But if we're talking about $10 or so million left, remember, we still have to sign a kicker. We still have to sign a backup quarterback, possibly 2 backup quarterbacks. And, maybe we can bring back some of these other guys that we want to bring back for depth, whether it is an LDT or a Javelin Guidry or that kind of a guy. So I guess what I'm wondering at this point is if they got one more big splash left. I really don't know. I really don't know. I don't think they're going to spend, put it this way, I think they're done spending double digit per year on free agents. You might see a $5 or $6 million guy here and there, like maybe a linebacker. That's something I would at least explore. I'm very interested in Miles Jack. People talk about the injury history. The bottom line is the guy is, he's a tackling machine and he's fierce when he's on the field. I would look at it. I would absolutely explore it. He's pretty much gone to the top of my linebacker list.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of these other things, again, we still have that draft. It said, okay, we need the wide receiver. We need the edge rusher. We still have the draft coming up. It doesn't matter if we get everything fixed now or in April or in May or in June, just as long as once training camp comes around, it's going to be a whole new start. It's going to be a new team. And, one of the things that I've noticed with these free agents, I feel like they all go into one of 2 categories. And tell me if you see this too. Either they have experience in the system, they got a Seattle, San Francisco background, or they have winning pedigrees. We got guys coming from San Francisco, from Cincinnati, who just went to the Super Bowl. So, Tampa Bay. I'm encouraged by that. These guys are going to instill a winning culture that we have been sorely lacking for a long time. So either they want winners or they want guys who can help implement the system that Robert Saleh needs to put in for this team to be successful. What do you think?
Yeah, no, these guys in particular, all the free agents that we brought in from the outside all have like you said, Adam, they're all come from winning pedigrees, Super Bowl, either champions or close to it, played in the Super Bowl like Uzama did. I don't know if Reed was on the team when San Francisco was up there. I don't think he was old enough, or he was with Seattle long enough when they were in there. But yeah, listen, I want to go back to Miles Jack. I think you have to do your homework on Miles Jack. I don't know if it's necessarily a fit. I know he's a real bougie name. But I don't know as constituted right now how much is a fit, because in essence, he's a Mike, he's a middle linebacker and he plays, he plays at the same position right now where we're in bed with somebody for $17 million, so could he move over and could he play the weak side? Maybe, I don't know. But I still think you have to do your homework. Is he going to be priced out of our range? Possibly. I know that there's ties and somebody said that, Saleh coached him in when he was in Jacksonville, and he's got some other ties there. So on the surface, everything looks like it makes sense, but it still comes down to the almighty dollar. And if we've learned anything during these last 2 days of the offseason, is JD's going to set his price and he's not going to spend over it.
We have news. We have breaking news.
Oh, here we go.
Marcus May has signed a contract with the New Orleans Saints. 3 years, $28.5 million.
Wow.
3 years, $28 million?
That's it. 3 years, $28 million.
The Saints did that? I thought they had no cap space.
3 years, 20. Yeah,
they just kick it down the road, man. And the cap space we talked about, like with the Jets and with the Saints, we won't know anything until the season starts and the cap's really established, because You know, Marcus May could have taken $1 million in year one and then have it all backloaded. So that's how they could get it to fit.
$15 million guaranteed. $15 million guaranteed.
I gotta tell you, I would not have paid $5 million for 1 year for him. Coming off an Achilles, the DUI.
Yep.
It's the Achilles injury, really, above everything else in the world. The Achilles injury. That, I mean, to me, it's got to be a prove-it year when you're not bound to a contract for somebody, and somebody's coming back from an Achilles. Why I would never do that, especially at a position like safety.
So what was the contract again? $28 million, he said?
3 years, $28.5 million, $15 million guaranteed.
Oh, that's
nuts.
So well, you know what?
Good for Marcus. I'm happy for him. Not for his agent, but I'm happy for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we get a
roughly it's about $9 million a year and change if it's broken down. You know, annual average annual value is about 9 and change, right?
Yeah, $9.5 million even.
And realistically, I think that's fair market value for a Marcus May. You know, take away not looking at the legal troubles that he has, not looking that he's coming off the Achilles injury. But I think that's fair, especially when guys, you know, Marcus Williams is getting $14 million. You know, Whitehead, we paid $7.5 million. I don't know what the other, what did Quandre Diggs just get in Seattle? Didn't he just get the bag?
He got like 10 or 11, I thought. I'll check. I thought he got a pretty nice contract.
Seattle
really
$30 million for their safeties.
I really don't think that that's a bad contract for Marcus May. I think, I don't think it's something that the Jets would have paid him. You know, I don't think it's a bad contract for Marcus May. But there's a big pink elephant in the room with what's hanging over his head. You know, can he come back? Can he come back from that Achilles? Is he going to miss time for the DWI and all that stuff? You know, maybe
Diggs got 3 years, $40 million. Yeah, Diggs got $13 million a year. So
yeah.
So I'm gonna just call out some people in the chat. We didn't get a chance to do that. Owen, welcome. Rusty Spooner is here now. We got Salty Nuts, John Nolte, Friggle D, who I called out before. Young Spaghetti is here and hopefully going to behave. He's been good lately. He actually made a great comment before. We were really proud of him. John Silver's here. Aiden, the Jacksonville Jaguar fan, is here. I love that he comes here all the time. It's pretty flattering that you do that. We had some other people too. Afram had a really good question before. It's been hard to highlight everybody. Nick Rousseau, thanks for being here, my friend. Nick Shine is here. Jets Mess is here. Man, it's so good to see all of you. You guys really make the show. So thanks for being here. Braden Bethwaite, all the way from
New Zealand.
Australia, New Zealand is here. I was going to say Australia. And Nathan Colgrove, Ant Jets 82. Everybody's here. Buffalo Jet fans here. He's going to be, I'm not going to ruin the surprise, but I may have ruined the surprise. Anyway, we're going to get to know him a little bit better. Just stay tuned. And so Afram had something that he commented on. And then I want to get to Pure Adrenaline. John Post made a comment that I want to follow up on. But Afram says, we have to see how the contracts are restructured, which is true. So right away, I'm doing the math based on the per year. But the reality is that the cap is not always hit the way, based on the average per year salary. So if Berrios, for example, only counts as $3 million, that's $3 million we had that I wasn't accounting for.
Yeah, that's why you gotta wait until everything balances out and the season starts, which I believe is Wednesday or Thursday.
Yep. Now, Pure Adrenaline, John, the postman, he says, comp pick. Do we get a comp pick for Marcus May?
Isn't it all about how many free agents you sign versus how many you lose? Isn't like a whole thing when the chart came out, it was listing like what free agents these teams signed versus who they lost. And I think the way that came out determined, I don't know. But then again, some of these teams have like four, like the Chargers got 4 comp picks. It was pretty crazy. I was just happy to see that nobody in the AFC East got any comp picks at all.
Yeah,
we knew we wouldn't, but nobody in the AFC East got, like New England. It's like the rite of passage to get like 3 a year, So
yeah. I got to tell you, I have yet have never understood the whole algorithm on how the comp picks are calculated or earned. Green Bean's the one to ask. He knows that like the back of his hand. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know it, so I can't really speak to it. If we're gonna get a comp pick or if he qualifies for a player at a comp pick, I just don't know.
Yeah, it's like salary per year, how much money they're making. So this is a decent amount of money that May's going to get. Their snap count, postseason awards, all of that kind of comes into play. To figure out whether it's third or seventh, it's absolutely insane. We'd be here all night going through that. But but the Rams are getting 5 picks. The Chargers are getting 4. So LA is making out very well with this system. Hey, Payo Time all of a sudden has something to be excited about with his mock drafts.
Yeah. He got in touch with me and says he needs to come on and do another mock draft, or we need to get together because there's been some changes based on their signings and everything. So
that'd be like what 20 picks that we'd have to make like between the Jets and the Rams.
Yeah. David Gerard, he agrees the inbound suspension, the ACL, that's pretty bad. Well, he's it's worse than an ACL tear if you're talking about Marcus May. I think an Achilles is worse. An Achilles is, I think statistically and historically has been much worse for people's careers than an ACL even. So, although it is getting better, which is great for us because Carl Lawson. So we're hoping that people can come back from an Achilles now.
Mm-hmm.
We know that in basketball, what's his face? Kevin Durant came back fine with an Achilles.
Cool.
Cyril Devine says only top 51 salaries are counted against. So every ad has a player from the calculation, not a cut. So if we sign a player at 1 million, we go up to 52 players. Bottom player is dropped at 900K, only 100K. Oh, I got you. Okay.
There will be a quiz on this at the end of the night.
So it feels like every time we drop somebody, we're dropping like $1 million probably also at the same time. So it's an awful deal by the Saints. Well, we're going to see. I think Dom also said there's the pink elephant is in the room, right? I mean, if he comes into camp and he's not completely healthy, that's going to be an issue. And let's say he's just not the same guy. Let's say he loses a full step. Let's also remember, what is he going to be, 29 coming into this year?
He's going to be 29 years old.
So
listen, say what you will. Marcus May was a good player. He was. He's no one. He's no one that he's not going to live in the lore of one Jets drive forever. But when he was on the field, he was a good player, especially the year that Adams left, and he kind of stepped into that role. And did a lot more for that defense, really was the glue for that defense. So Marcus May is a good player, and $9 million for a good player is I think, fair market value.
Yep. Dark Soldier's here. What's up, buddy?
He's definitely one of the best second round picks we've had in a long time for what that's worth. Yeah,
and yet another pick from the McCagnon era that didn't earn well, actually, I guess technically he earned a second contract when we franchised him.
I think we'll put it this way: he got the contract offered to him. Yeah, he just chose not to accept it, and I was going to say it backfired, but based off of this contract, I guess it worked out all right.
No, it worked out fine. I think the agent be given a medal getting him that deal. So you guys should get Jack, great player, great person. Just but I thought you also said since his injury, he's not as good. It just depends on speed. The Jets need a sideline to sideline linebacker, somebody with a tremendous amount of speed. And I don't know if Jack still has that speed, right? It's just, and it's also, what is he going to cost? Because I think this, it's a rich draft for that. I think there's a bunch of guys we can grab, even third round, fourth rounds, that could fill our need at linebacker.
I'm curious if either of you guys know. Do you know? I know he was released or he was cut. But do you know what he was under contract for, Miles Jack?
I'll look it up for it. Yeah, I'll look it up for it. I think it was a pretty decent stuff. It's amazing how many teams are writing fans are writing blog posts saying, "Oh man, this is perfect." Like the Dolphins, the Bears, the Eagles. Like half the teams in the league think Miles Jack is like a perfect fit for them. All right, I'll pull up Spot Trek here for the contract. Go ahead.
I think Aiden just told us $11 million.
Whoa. So from 2019 to 2023, that was going to be the contract. 4 years, $57 million, 33 of it guaranteed. He was making over $14 million a year. And that was after his entry-level contract from 2016 ran out. So, yeah, he was getting paid very handsomely.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? If I had to guess, I think he's going to earn a $10 million contract. You know, unless I don't see him coming in for a 1 year prove it deal for less than that. You know, and I just don't know. Like I said, I don't know enough about him to say he's worth it or he's not. You know, the one thing I do know is, you know, we kind of got somebody that plays our mic already, you know?
Yeah. And by the way, one thing with the comp picks, I'm following Jason OTC, who's a Jets fan. I think he kind of basically he founded overthecap.com, which is a good website. Right now, we've signed too many free agents to qualify for comp picks. So remember, it's about the math. How many you sign versus how many you lose.
Correct.
Maybe this is one reason why Joe Douglas tends to sign. He hasn't given out, I think, a single free agent contract that exceeded 3 years. Yep. Everything is 2 years, 3. Maybe that's part of the idea. Is he thinks that we're going to get some comp picks, which is a big thing that teams like the Ravens, the Packers, the Patriots have been doing for years. You know, maybe it's time for us to get on that train. So maybe that's part of the reason why we have these shorter term deals.
Yeah, I find it interesting. I was talking about that with somebody earlier in a chat, that the longest contract that he's extended in these 3 years he's kind of been at the helm has been 3 years.
Yep.
You know? Yeah. And what did Marcus Williams end up getting? He got 5, correct?
Yeah.
He got 5 for 70, right?
He did.
You know, and I said that. I said, you know, there's something in me. I'm not saying that Marcus Williams wasn't worth it. But there's something in me that just kind of questioned if Joe Douglas was really going to dole out a 5-year contract. Just because if history keeps repeating itself, he hasn't done it yet. What's to do it now? And I think it, you know, I don't know if it has something to do with the comp picks, Adam. That's a fair point. It very well could, but I also just think that, you know, he's doing everything he can to build now with an eye on the future, you know, because in another year or in 2 years, you know, we're going to be in position. He wants to keep us in financially secure, you know, so we're in position to make those big LA Rams or you know, Tampa Bay Buck kind of top line guys, bring them in.
Okay, so OC Spence is in the house. He's a Denver fan. He says that he would happily trade us linebackers from his team for some of our picks. I don't know if we're interested in doing that. I think we might pick a linebacker, but it's good that you're in here, my friend.
Josie Jewell, is he available? Is he still on the roster? Or is he a free agent?
Who's that?
Jewell. Josie.
I heard a report that Denver kept him today. So I heard that he was signed. Now that would still leave Alexander Johnson available. But Jewell was the guy I was definitely looking at.
Yeah, me too. I think Jewell's a nice little player.
Okay, now
I'll double check this. Right? I'm pretty sure I saw it reported.
We have a question from Young Spaghetti, which is actually a good question for all of us, or half of the questions are a good question for all of us.
Really?
Just
Who is my wife? You want to know about my wife?
No, he meant to say wide receiver. So we're gonna share our wide receiver ones.
I
will quickly say that yes, I like fried chicken when it's done correctly. But more importantly, I think wide receiver is something that since we didn't address, we might really start thinking we're going to go early with the wide receiver, gentlemen. So who is your wide receiver one? My wide receiver one when it comes to value. So not if my wide receiver one, if it had nothing to do with the draft order, if you said who do you want to have for free, or who do you think is the best guy to grab, it's probably Garrett Wilson. But when you measure in value and where in the draft we can get the person, I think it might be Christian Watson for me. As far as I would rather have Christian Watson in the second rounds above using our 4 pick, for example, for Garrett Wilson. So even though I like Garrett Wilson better, the overall value of Christian Watson in the second round, or even a Treylon Burks at 35 if he slipped, is better for me. But Garrett Wilson is the best wide receiver coming out in the class, in my opinion. What do you think, Dom?
if I have to rank them big board style, I'd agree with you, and I'd say Garrett Wilson is the number one receiver on the board. And the beautiful thing is, if you want the precise route runner, the Jets can take Garrett Wilson. If you want that big physical contested catch guy, red zone threat, go get London. If you want the athletic guy, go get Burks. If you want the guy who could take the top off of the defense, go get Olave. I think each one of them fit what we need or could fit what we need. It really just depends on, which one, our, Douglas and staff thinks is the best fit, but if I had to rank them, I would, I would put Garrett Wilson at the top. I'd put London 2, I'd put Burks 3, and I'd put Olave and change 4.
Yeah.
Christian Watson close though.
Yeah. And Friggledy says that Watson may go round 1. And I'm curious, is that because like just the question mark of the competition he's went against, or is that just flat out your belief as far as his talent?
I think it's I agree with Friggledy. As a matter of fact, I was on Green Bean Show last night, and I kind of gave that as my little hot take. I think if Watson is a target for the Jets, and I'm not saying he is, but if that was the guy that we honed in and said, hey, this is the wide receiver we want, he's got all the attributes you want, I think you got to trade up in the end of the first round and go get him. I don't think that there's going to be, especially with the teams addressing the quarterback position through free agency and taking these flyers, and Carson Wentz getting dealt, and Pittsburgh signing a free agent quarterback. I think with the lack of quarterbacks, I mean, that just means that other positions are going to be soaked up more quickly. Wide receiver is going to be one of them. There's probably 10 teams that you can justifiably say could go wide receiver. I'm not saying there's going to be 10 wide receivers taking the first round, but I think there's 10 teams that could justifiably make an argument that they could. You wouldn't be surprised if they went wide receiver in the first round.
Right. Adam.
By the way, Josie Jewell did sign a 2-year contract with Denver, so he is off the market, just to put that on the record. I'm actually going to get Garrett Wilson's been my number 1 wide receiver as well. I prefer guys who are a little bit more fluid as opposed to guys who are, have the height and whatnot. I think it's easy to get lost in height. I'm more interested in crisp route running, getting off the line quickly, creating that separation. Now, I'm going to give you a sleeper wide receiver that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. I don't think I've heard this name mentioned on hardly a single show over the last couple of months, and that's Jalen Tolbert from South Alabama. Mm-hmm. I don't hear people discussing this guy, and I really don't understand why that is. He's 6'1", 194. He's known for having great footwork and running routes very effectively, which sounds like the exact kind of wide receiver that suits this offense. So, just to throw a different name out there, Jalen Tolbert is a guy, you don't have to get your wide receiver round 1. We have to remember this. Just because we don't come out of night 1 with a wide receiver doesn't mean Zach's not going to have any weapons all year. So, yeah, if you're looking for a day 2 target, there's a couple of guys, Justin Ross, John Mechie, I like him, but Jalen Tolbert is a guy who just, to me, does not get enough respect. Yeah,
Jalen Tolbert's a good player. I would put him in that kind of, like you said, I think he's going to be a day 2 pick, probably in the second round. Yeah. Depending on what happens with the wide receivers in the first round, he could slide down to the end of the second round, early third round. But he's in. I'd say he's definitely a top 50 player in this draft. He's smooth, like you said. He runs a full route tree. He's smooth. He's fast. The knock on him is he's a little light in the pants. He lacks that physicality. And people are always going to question, and I hate this argument. And I'm a big advocate for, the player and not the competition that he played. It's South Alabama. Everyone's going to say, well, who did he play against? Christian Watson, North Dakota State. Well, who did he play against? Well, Christian Watson came into the Senior Bowl and showed you exactly what he could do coming from North Dakota State. So I think that Jalen Tolbert right now, is probably a second or third rounder. more so going to be that, that guy who takes, runs the 9 routes, runs the go routes at first, until he can, really put a little bit more muscle on and learn the intricacies and of the physicality the NFL brings. But I agree, he's a great prospect. Romeo Doubs from Nevada, another guy along the same lines as Jalen Tolbert, probably going to be in that round 2, round 3 talk. But if we, for some reason, I don't think it's going to be the case, but if we bypassed wide receiver in the first and second round and we ended up with a guy like Romeo Doubs, I'd be stoked.
I'm seeing some comparisons to Michael Thomas with Romeo Doubs, so that's a pretty decent comparison.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a fabulous comparison. I don't know if I saw that, but what do I know? I don't know everything.
So guys, I want to welcome Payo Time to the chat and the stream.
Hey, Payo.
He wants to acknowledge Andrew Whitworth, who I think is worth acknowledging, man. He's a great human being, great player, played forever, great NFL player, and goes out, retires with a ring. So I'll definitely blast it out for you and congratulate Andrew Whitworth on a great career.
Kudos. One of the best things I saw all day on Twitter was when they announced, or somebody announced, Andrew Whitworth, or had a clip of him with him and his kids sitting in the confetti after the Super Bowl. And he said, guess what, guys? This was Daddy's last football game.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he did it with you could see just like the sheer, happiness and contentment oozing out of him. Not because, I'm sure, just because he won the Super Bowl, but just because I think he knew it was time. And, he was doing it with his kids, which, from what I've read about Andrew Whitworth, he is like the ideal citizen and the ideal man and the ideal father, like all that good stuff. Yeah. Walter Payton, Man of the Year. Wonderful.
There you go.
And he's got great beard game. The fact that he has that gray beard, I think that makes him that much more likable.
Dude, he's 40 years old, still playing in the NFL.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
He's probably one of the, if people are voting for players they didn't like, he would have no votes, right? I mean, I can't imagine anybody not liking him or having anything against that guy. I mean, he's nothing but a class act. He's been nothing but a class act. So it's good that he got to go out that way. He deserves it,
Yeah. So I got a question for you guys, since we're talking about the wide receivers.
All right.
So I'm curious. Garrett Wilson is off the board, gets taken by Atlanta at pick 8. Who are you taking at 10? If wide receiver is your focus.
Well, who has to be a wide receiver at 10?
Who's your number 2 wide receiver on the board?
This is tough to do.
Okay.
But I think I would. I know I might not have him for the first month or 2, but I would still go Jameson Williams. I think his ceiling is that high compared to everybody else. I'd really do it.
I think I concur.
Do you? Okay.
I think so. I think we got to be patient. I mean, they all had ACL tears. Everybody wants Pickens. Everyone wants Mechie still, right? A lot of people. It's like they all had his ACL tears. That's the new thing. It's like, okay, he got his ACL tear out of the way. He has the biggest ceiling of any wide receiver probably coming out.
Sure, he's a crisp route runner. I just don't, and I agree with you with all your sentiments about Jameson Williams. But I just don't think right now the Jets are in a position to draft a guy with high capital like that, knowing that you're probably not going to have, you're probably going to have to redshirt him his first year, or at least half the year. I just don't think we're in that position. If we were the Rams and had, a healthy Cooper Kupp, a healthy OBJ, a healthy, or
Robert Woods, and you wanted to, and Van Jefferson, you want to take a flyer on that guy because you don't need him right away. That's fine. I just don't think that that's the Jets' position. Not knocking the talent. I just don't think he would be in the cards for us.
I don't know.
Now, if he fell down to 30, and you said shit, let's move up and get him. We've already used 4. We've already used 10. Let's trade one of these seconds and maybe something else to go back up to 30 and go get him. I'm all for it. I just don't know if, realistically, if taking him at 10 it would be in the cards. I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
think
know.
Jets Twitter land would blow up.
It depends how serious, JD is about having to win right now. Like if he wants, like if he says, instead of 8-9 wins, I'm only going to get 7-8 wins. But then long term, I'm going to have this guy for the master plan, but it's hard to know because he's so tight-lipped, JD, right?
Yeah.
It's so hard to know for sure. But let's just say I know that obviously people would blow up. I would rather, if we did that, if we took him, I'd rather we trade down a few spots and take him.
Yes.
And if we lose him, it's okay. Like if we gain a lot of draft capital, we trade down to 17, 18, we get a lot of draft capital, we lose him. Okay. Oh, well, we take Nagobe Dean and then we take Dotson in the second round. Or, okay. Oh, well, we take Traylon Burks or, somebody else. But the hard part about taking him at 10 for me is not the talent, not even the fact that he might not play in the beginning. The hardest part for me is I just think that we're throwing away value. We can trade down and we can get him, and we have plenty of insurance and plenty of great players to choose from, or very, solid guys. If he was to go and we miscalculate.
I mean, wouldn't be the first time we traded down with the intent of drafting a wide receiver.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Not that we need to relive that pick, but yeah.
Never say never on Mr. Mims. Never say never.
What is this? Not a Rizzo fan. Okay, you guys. The Yankees.
The Yankees got Anthony Rizzo to agree to a contract. So
I guess he's the first baseman.
Yeah, first baseman. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have some good baseball in New York, I think.
Yeah, if they'll allow the non-vaccinated players to actually play in New York City. No, we're not getting political, but
oh wow,
come on.
Yeah, that's still an issue, right? Yeah, they play outside.
I've heard like half the Mets players aren't almost half the Mets players aren't even vaccinated, meaning they couldn't play home games. So that has got to get fixed. That has to be resolved. Something has to change.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's outdoors, by the way. These games are outdoors. Why is this such a problem? I don't get it. But
New York, his own animal, man.
Yep.
It's become that.
It's become its own animal. Let's see. I caught up in the chat so fast. I was like, but did I say hello to Jeffrey R? If I didn't, hello, man. Thanks for being here. Dark Soldier joined during the heavy the conversations. We might not have gotten to say hello to him. I don't know if Peo Time's still here. I'm waiting for one of his amazing questions for us to answer. Hey man, it's been a good day. I don't know if non-Jet fans really are follow. I know that that Aiden is, but I don't know if other fans are really following what we're doing so much. I mean, because again, these are not super flashy names. I know that the teams that are losing the players are following it, like Tampa Bay is sure as hell aware that we just signed their safety.
Oh, yeah.
They're feeling that sting, and I'm sure San Francisco is not thrilled about losing Tomlinson.
I think, listen, if they wanted to keep Tomlinson, they would have given an offer. I mean, they were up against it. And at some point, you got to put your big boy pants and make business decisions. And, my guess is, without knowing the roster, I don't claim to know the roster in and out of San Francisco, but they probably had a younger, cheaper guy that could slide in at guard and save that money to do elsewhere. Because again, remember, as of right now, this second, they still have to account for $25 million for Jimmy G. Roughly,
I think so. Yeah,
sounds right. Right.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: is because the chat's confusing me because I'm seeing a lot of stuff fly by about Cleveland. Is this rumors? Is this happening? Like, what's going on?
Baker Mayfield put out a statement about an hour ago, basically saying, here's where my head is, here's where my heart is. He wasn't saying goodbye to Cleveland, but he still took the time to thank the people of Cleveland for his journey up to this point in his life, and he doesn't know what the future holds. It was like saying goodbye without saying goodbye.
Jeremy,
I think he knows his days are numbered.
I have it here because I emailed it to a buddy of mine who's a Cleveland Browns fan. I'll read it to you.
I'm sure he appreciated that.
Yeah. Well, you know how much ribbon I've taken from him over the years about the Jets, so whenever I can jab it back, I will.
Look at Bud Light refrigerator opening up. Oh, God.
So here's what Baker Mayfield from his official Twitter posted. Cleveland, the past 4 years has been nothing short of truly life-changing since I heard my name called in the draft to go to Cleveland. This is not a message with a hidden meaning. This is strictly to thank the city of Cleveland for embracing my family and me. We have made many memories and shared growing in this process through all the ups and downs. I have no clue what happens next, which is the meaning behind the silence I have had during the duration of this process. I can only control what I can, which is trusting in God's plan throughout the process. I have given this franchise everything I have. That is something that I've always done at every stage and at every level, and that will not change wherever I take my next snap. Whatever happens, I just want to say thank you to the fans who truly embraced me, and I am mental and embraced who I am and the mentality that aligned well with so many of this city's hardworking people. Sincerely, Baker Reagan Mayfield.
Oh, it doesn't sound good. I want to quickly say, Mike22, welcome to the chat. Haven't seen you before. Don't know if you've been subbed or watching, but if you're not, sub up. Help us grow the channel, and feel free to be here and hang out anytime.
Yeah, that letter is definitely not going to be confused for LeBron James coming home from Miami. That is not going to be revered. To saying things like "I've given this everything that I have." I mean, some of the statements in there. I mean, he's doing everything but saying thank you. I'm leaving.
Yep.
He said it without saying it, in my opinion, as I hear that being read back again.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, the guy's probably getting, the anguish is probably of hearing his name bantered about all over the place. He's staying, he's going, he's going to go to Texas in the Deshaun Watson trade. He's going to go somewhere regardless, this is probably what he needed to do before he just blew his top. So
yeah. Absolutely.
Whatever happens to him, A, he's not a Jet, so it's not going to faze me all that bad. And B, I wish him the best.
Yeah.
Do you think things would have worked out any differently if Cleveland had taken Sam Darnold and we would have taken Baker Mayfield?
No.
Think it would have been any different? I don't think it would have been too drastic.
I think whatever quarterback we took, whether it was Josh Allen, whether it was Lamar Jackson, whether it was Baker, or whether Sam, would have been doomed to fail the way that the team and leadership was structured during that tenure.
Lamar would have been injured by game 3 of his first season,
and we would have never been able to develop Lamar or Josh Allen to the level that they have developed as quarterbacks.
Just to keep an incentive for those of you that are here, we keep flirting with 30. 30 seems to be our number, but we need to get to 50. I just want those of you that are hanging around to know that stay in the chat. Don't go anywhere, because if we can get this up to 50 people, the moment that happens, Chancellor Spock goes to somebody. This gets sent to, it's going to go somewhere in the world. This is going to get sent out when we get to 50 people in the stream at the same time. We keep flirting with 30, and then people drop out, new people come in. We get 50 at the same time. This baby goes home with somebody. So hang around, because you never know. Aside from that, we might give away some other goodies just randomly. You never know when I might say, hey, maybe we need to give this out. A Deion Sanders rookie card from 1989, NFL Pro rookie card. So you never know when something's going to go. So hang around, stay in the stream, and thanks for being here. Sorry, guys, I have to do my plug, my marketing. You know what I mean? I'm my own sponsor. So Spaghetti's making people laugh now. Let's see, he makes people mad. He makes people laugh. I don't know what to do with this kid. He has a crazy outfit. Okay, definitely no chance of confusing Baker's comments from LeBron returns.
Thank you, Nathan. We appreciate you listening.
Okay, so Deshaun Watson is doing the rounds. He's meeting potential people. So this is very believable that it could happen. What do you guys think? I mean, what's going to happen if Cleveland gets Deshaun Watson? They're going to lose tons and tons of draft picks, but they do have a lot of talent there. So what do you think?
I got nothing. I don't understand the whole lore about drafting or trading for someone, and no disrespect to the talent of Deshaun Watson, because he is very talented, but he comes with such a hefty price tag in his salary. The what you're going to have to give up is just, it can be draining to a franchise for someone who might not even play more than half the season, once the NFL, comes down on him. So I just don't get it. I don't understand. I know he's got a no trade clause. I know that he's allowed to shop himself around before, deciding to waive his no trade clause. I know that Houston has the right to hear out a potential deal before Deshaun's allowed to, pretty much sell himself. The whole thing is just screwy, man.
Yep. Question for the panel. I brought this up to Jeremy before. He did. It's true. I can vouch for him. With the importance of the defensive tackle in this defense, I think JD will trade a 2023 mid-late round pick for a veteran DT to stabilize the defensive line. Thoughts?
I like the idea. I feel like the only real miss they've had in this free agency period was not getting DJ Jones. That was the defensive tackle I've been talking about. That was who I wanted. I felt he would have been a perfect fit as that run-stuffing defensive tackle. And I know we got people who don't want to hear about drafting a defensive tackle. I get it, but we need a run stuffer. Jonathan Marshall, please. Q, JFM, Sheldon Rankins was abysmal against the run. That's one reason why I have no interest in keeping him. I want to save the $5.5 million. Now, I guess that begs the question: who is that veteran defensive tackle? Couldn't tell you. I don't know who's available right now. But we haven't really seen JD trade a pick for a player, like we did with Brandon Marshall way back when. I would say this: if the trade is out there, I don't think he would hesitate, because I think it's something that this defense is currently lacking. We know how much he likes to rotate 8 or 9 players, and I'm sorry, Nathan Shepard is not making me excited about our run defense. I didn't get a sudden burst in confidence when I heard that news. So, yeah.
Well, I'm on the same wavelength as you, Adam. And on our Sunday show, I've talked about how important I thought the defensive line or doing something to address the defensive line is for us. You lose Foley. I hold the same exact sentiment of Sheldon Rankins, for as good as they say he is as a leader and in the locker room. I see the only thing I don't see any of that stuff. What I see is the production on the field, and last year was pretty bad, and you can get rid of them relatively cheap with less than $1 million of dead cap money going into next year, while gaining $5.5 million in salary cap this year, if you were to move on from him. But that being said, if you move on from him, you got to replace him, and I think most of the top guys have come off. DJ Jones, BJ Hill was another guy that I really liked.
Ogunjobi, he went. Yeah, here in Chicago.
Yep. What's the guy's? There's a guy that went from the Rams over to. Good Lord, did he go to Denver? Sebastian.
Sebastian Day. Joseph
Sebastian Day from yeah. He's gone too. All the guys. I think the only guy that holds any sort of depth and weight out there, and I'm sure there's plenty of defensive linemen that fill that role, but Malik Collins, who's from Houston, Houston Texan, 26, 27 years old, kind of fits that bill of run stuffer / kind of like a mix of both worlds. He can get after the quarterback if he can, has played pretty well against the run. He is a free agent. I don't think his price tag would be bad. But on the same token, how much of an improvement is a guy like him over a guy like Rankins or Nathan Shepard that you brought in? I don't even know what they brought in Nathan Shepard for. So.
Yeah, I would imagine Malik Collins would get a 2-year, $17 million deal from, say, the Houston Texans to bring him back, because that's what they did.
Did they?
Yeah.
No, there you go. 2 years, $17 million. That's a heavy price.
It was cool. Yeah, it was quite a bit, but yeah. So Collins is off the market as well. Yeah, when you mentioned his name, I'm like, I could have sworn I saw his name come through the wire, but yep, Collins' history. I mean, what defensive tackle is left? Like Calais Campbell? I mean,
Yeah.
there's not much left. So I think we have to trade, or we're gonna have to draft somebody.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that too. There are some defensive linemen that would be, that could be, very, very, very enticing. You can't tell me, Dante Wyatt, if he's there at 34 or 38, that you can't tell me that you don't have a conversation about him.
It's hard not to.
Perry on Winfrey. I know that Winfrey's build might not be one of run stuffer, but he's much more of a 3-tech penetrator, pressure kind of in the mold that we already have in Q. But he's a good player. I'm trying to think off the top of my head also some of the bigger guys. I mean,
what about Mathis? What about Fedarian Mathis?
Fedarian Mathis, run stuff.
Yeah,
That's the guy. Yeah,
run
Travis
stuff,
Jones, both of them.
Big boy. Travis Jones from Connecticut. 315 pounds, run 4.8, and just showed up at the combine. These are guys that have the conversation. No matter if anyone will tell you, I don't want a defensive lineman. We spent all this, high draft capital on defensive lineman first. Fine, I get it, but you got to forget all that stuff and worry about the here and now. And to say that defensive line is not an issue, or maybe not the biggest priority, but to say that we're fine, I think is not being fully true to yourself.
It's really not. And if you want to sleeper,
it's really important. I'm sorry. It's really important that we, for me, that if we're not going to grab that key guy at 10, if someone doesn't slip, that we make that trade down and we get that extra pick at second round, so we have the luxury of grabbing a defensive tackle.
Sure.
And if you want a sleeper, I would look at John Ridgway, defensive tackle from Arkansas. 6'5", 320 pounds. Transferred in from Illinois State, and he made the transition to the SEC swimmingly. And another thing I like, he's got 34-inch arms. He's got these long arms, which really allow him to get good extension against his opponents. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for a good run defender late, like maybe with that 5th-round pick, one of those 5th-round picks, John Ridgway could be a guy that they go after.
Yeah. Good ball player. I like it. Travis Jones is our pick 69. Rusty, from your mouth to God's ears, but I don't think he lasts until 69.
That's what
I think Travis Jones is a top 50 player.
Probably so.
Yeah. Jeffrey feels that way too. Although we never know for sure. Every year there's surprise people who slip. I'm not saying he will be there, but we certainly can't count on it. But someone crazy is going to be there, right? I mean, every year. I mean, Creed Humphreys last year, for example, that was just unreal how far he slipped.
Well, I mean, the position, and again, I think that might play a little bit more to the positional value or the look of the positional value at the position of center. Defensive line is held in a completely different regard. You need, most teams need 4 or 5 of them to rotate through, so on and so forth.
Yeah. But I like Ridgway. Every time I see that name in the draft late in rounds, it's always tempting to grab him. I watch him get destroyed all season. And Salty Nuts is very salty on Q Williams. I'm not salty on him overall. Like if he would have been a 3rd, 4th round pick and he was playing this way, I'd be very happy. I think it's the draft position that is haunting Quinnen Williams.
Weren't we saying the same thing about Leonard Williams?
Yeah.
The difference is that draft was pretty abysmal. That draft was bad. I mean, and I'm not meaning the Jets. I mean, overall, it was just not a very impressive draft. Yeah. All things considered. Mm-hmm. Who was the best player that came after him? I guess like Todd Gurley in the next 10 picks. Other than that, because I was at that draft. It was in Chicago. I actually got to go.
Really?
And
I remember. I don't remember the draft class off the top of my head, but I remember being stoked when Leo fell to 6.
Yeah, we were all excited. And back then we thought, well, hey, Mac did the smart move, But
yeah, took the best available player, and that was always the MO, or at least the MO I sold myself on. Mac's going to take the best available player all the time.
Yeah, looking at it, like here's who actually the players who went before. I'll just give you a quick rundown: Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, Dante Fowler, Amari Cooper, Brandon Scherf. Not too bad outside of the quarterbacks. After that, we drafted Leonard Williams at 6. After that, check out some of these all-time greats: Kevin White, Vic Beasley. He had one good year. Eric Flowers. Ask any Giants fan what they think of him.
He actually turned. You know what? He
turned out okay.
He's actually turned himself into a pretty good guard.
As a guard, so did Robert Gallery.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that wasn't the idea. It took another team or two to finally get him to be decent.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley, Trey Waynes. Danny Shelton is okay. Andres Pete. This is not a very impressive draft class. It gets a little bit better later with like Marcus Peters and Melvin Gordon. But yeah, it's not like they lost out on a ton of great players by drafting Leonard Williams.
True. Fair point. That class is a little lackluster.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Guys, do you know what we should do? We should actually do a mock draft right now based on what we just saw happen in the last 2 days.
Oh. You could do that.
Yeah.
I'm always game to draft.
People are asking what our picks are, so let's get this baby going. Let's fire up a mock draft. I'm always down to do that for people, and I'm realizing we haven't done one in a while. For me, like more than 24 hours is a while. So
the only other time I've done a mock draft, like on a show, was in December with Greenbean when Jeremy, you, Frankie, and I helped him do that complete impromptu mock draft. It'd be pretty funny to go back and look at that draft, see how that turned out compared to what we're thinking now.
Yeah. So
you could go back a month and have that and make that same argument, Adam.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's definitely going to change.
So let's give our arguments for each pick, and then we'll do votes in the chat. But this way, they'll know how we feel and what picks we want to make. We're gonna hit the let's draft button. I'll zoom in on who goes, who's left, and I'm wondering if they're updating their algorithms based on the free agent signings. We'll see. So here we go. Right away, we get some guys off the board, and I can tell that the edges went right away. So this is who was picked, just in case you can't see. Let me try to zoom in. Kayvon Thibodeau. Malik Willis went second to Detroit. Aiden Hutchinson went third. So Tibbs and Hutchinson are gone. We look at the board right now, and this is exactly where free agency comes to play, right? And what we've done. Because Evan Neal suddenly isn't a temptation as much. Ikem Ekwonu, who, by the way, moved up from 10 to number 6 in PFN rankings, is still there. Again, not as much a temptation. Gardner is still there. Ahmed Gardner. Kyle Hamilton. We just bulked up our secondary. So now I would say that means we have to look at this trade, right?
You don't have to. Yeah, you always do, but you don't have to.
Right. But is there a guy here that you think we can't pass up on right now that might be? Well, the only trade offer we're getting, by the way, is it's not like we're getting an offer to trade down a small increment. The only trade offer we're getting is from Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh wants our pick and 163. That's going to drop us down to 20, right? But we're going to get 52 and 84. There's your defensive tackle. And they're second and they're third next year. So that's not a horrible offer. It's a lot of draft capital.
Hey, Adam, I'm curious. Do you have your computer in front of you?
I do.
Can you pull up the draft value chart? I'm just curious to see how this stacks up.
Yeah,
I don't know it off the top of my head.
Yeah, I use a laptop, and then I use my cell phone as well to look stuff up. So yeah, that's no problem. It's not like we're timed or anything here. We got all night. It's not like any of us have to work in the morning.
I don't know if Lee Cravat is on the board still.
Well, while Adam's looking that up, I'm gonna talk a little bit here. Taking the trade out of the equation now because I'm curious to see what it would how the value actually stacks up.
Mm-hmm.
if I'm picking, if the selection is mine, I'm taking my edge 3 right here. I love and Jeremy, you know how much I value Ikem Ekwonu.
Mhm.
And if he was the pick, I'd be okay. If Sauce Gardner was the pick, I'd be okay. If we said Kyle Hamilton's the pick, I'm okay. I'm still taking my edge 3 here. That's because although I think Hutch and Thibodeau are on a tier by themselves, I don't think the next tier is that far off, and I'd be afraid to miss that next tier at 10. And that tier includes the guys like Walker. It includes Jermaine Johnson, who probably would be my pick. I'm not going to put Karlaftis in that tier. I'm not going to put David Ojabo in that tier. They're close, but probably not in that tier. Right now, I think Trayvon Walker or Jermaine Johnson would be my pick. I lock up my edge here. I don't have to worry about anything else until pick 10. But I'm curious to see what the trade value comes up, because my guess by eyeballs, and it's probably going to come up a little light.
Okay, so here's what I would say. So our picks combined have a value of 1,864 points. 1,800 for pick 4, 24 whole points for pick 163. If you combine the 3 Steeler picks for this year, that's a total of 1,400. So it's less for this year. But then if you factor in, so what I did with the future picks, I just took kind of like the median, like the middle value of what the second and third round picks would be, just to give kind of an average. I think the Steelers are going to be pretty, let's say, kind of run of the mill next year. Let's just say they're 500. So that'd be about another 600 points. So now it goes up from 1,400 to 2,000. Now we're getting a little bit better of the deal. We're winning it by about 140 points, which is like the equivalent of a third round pick, like a mid third round pick. So it's a slight advantage for us.
I don't know if I don't know if it's enough to drop from 4 to 20.
That's the thing. If we didn't have the 10, I would say not a chance.
Yeah.
So the chat, I think, wants to do the trade.
Really?
So, but the idea was for us to share what we would do.
Yeah. I shared what I would do. So you guys are on the board.
Yeah, I would. It's not my favorite trade of all the offers that come in, but if it was the only one and this was the only buyer, I would probably do it because I really want to fill all the needs, and I just think that these extra picks is going to help me do that, and I really like putting some capital into next year because I don't think we're done with the rebuild process. I think we need extra draft capital next year. I think we're going to win some more games. We're not going to have that high pick. I think there's some really good players coming out next year. So I'm going to say that I personally would take the trade. How about you, Adam?
I think at this point, I always want to say counter. Like I always feel like we could get one more pick or just something just a little bit better. But yeah, if we took this trade, I would be okay with it because there's no player here where I'm like, that's the guy I have to have at pick number 4. So I would make the trade.
Okay. So the chat agrees definitely. It's overwhelming that the chat wants to take the trade, but they are agreeing that we should counter. So let's counter it.
Why don't we do this? Can I suggest this?
No.
Yeah.
Take away the second and the third and see if we can get there first.
That's reasonable. See if they'll do that.
Because I don't think you're moving down realistically, I don't think you're moving down from 4 to 20 without a first rounder involved.
It doesn't seem like anything any team has done. So
I don't know if they're going to take this, but we'll try it.
Well, what is going on? Why does it keep?
I think you're right clicking is what you're doing.
Oh, well, I can't help it because it's like this new stupid computer. Okay, so let's see.
Yeah, that was quite a jump. So
this is not a good offer, but I think that it's still better for us, I believe, even though it's
I guess
not
if anything, we could ask for their 4th round pick also, which would be like 138. But yeah, 138. If anything, try to get that thrown in, maybe, but that's about it.
I don't think they're going to do it, but let's try.
I doubt it, but
Again with the right click.
All right. I just take the trade, to be honest. Yeah, the chat wants to take the trade, so let's do it.
Yeah, they're just saying to take it. Hold on, let me try one more counter because it doesn't hurt us to do it. Let me ask for their 7th for next year. Just to be an asshole. Oh, whoa. No,
they're holding firm on this one, bro.
Okay, so we took the trade, guys. Everybody in the chat's going absolutely freaking up. What about trading up? Thoughts, Hutch? It's hard to trade up because the picks already happened. You know, it's too late. I think there's a way to pause it, but I haven't figured that out yet. Okay, so let's look at the board so you can see who's on the board right here. Kyle Hamilton is still there. Jordan Davis, defensive tackle. We were talking about him. The edge, Trayvon Walker, is there at 11. Tyler Lindenbaum, George Kalafdis, Trevor Penning, Pickett, Ajabo, Stingley, Corral, Zion Johnson, who's moved all the way up to 20. Whoa, what's going on? It's not letting me scroll down anymore. What the hell's going on here? Let's see. Oh, I hate advertisements. Okay. Let me click on this and get rid of it. All right, here we go. So Jermaine Johnson is still there. And I think it's reasonable. I don't care that he's ranked 24 here. Like we're not going to play the board. We're going to play real life. I think it's realistic to say that Jermaine Johnson will be at 10. I know there's a chance he won't, but there's certainly a chance that he will. I'm totally good taking Jermaine Johnson right here at 10 and getting the edge taken care of. Although there are people in the chat that are already saying they want George Karlaftis.
Karlaftis, Walker.
Oh, somebody wants to see the other trade. I'm sorry. So let's do the. Remember, we're going to do real life. I'm not taking advantage of the board. We have to assume that any edge we like might be gone if we trade down. Tampa wants us to go to 27. There's no way we're doing that. Okay. The Chargers are saying go down to 17 and get a second rounder for next year, and we give away our 6th. I don't think that's a good offer either.
I would make a trade. I would pick a 10.
Yeah, I think we have to pick a 10. We have to get an elite guy, right?
We got a player.
What do you think, chat? No trade. Okay, so I see Rusty saying no, Jeffrey saying no. A lot of people are saying no trade. Okay.
Rusty Spoon and Friggle D want Walker. Mark Orlando wants Walker. Braden says all 3 of them, George, Trayvon, or Jermaine. I'd have to agree, whichever one's your highest on the board.
So I have to say, I don't know. I got to look at tape on Trayvon Walker. I don't know him. The chat's saying Walker, so I'm good with it. But
yeah, I got to look at Walker and Davis. I got to watch both.
How did Trayvon Walker shoot up the board like this? Like, what happened? The combine?
Well, Trayvon Walker is an athletic freak. That's how he shot up the board. He tested ridiculously at the combine. He played on a team that might have 5 players go before the end of, the first 2 rounds from the same defense, if not 6. He's got the ability. I liken him personally. I mean, I know the positions are different, but I think he's kind of got a little Q in him. Like you can see that the talent is there, but at some times he just looks like, wow, is this the guy that we're going to spend, the top 10 pick on? There's plays that he does get beat, and then there's plays that he just wins with ridiculous athleticism. I mean, the guy, he's fast. He's got enough bend. He's strong. He's big. He's got enough weight to play the position. He's stout against the run, and he can still get after the quarterback. He got after the quarterback, not so much so technically, but using his sheer athleticism. So as athletic as he is, that still scares me a little bit. He's I think, put it this way, I think the easiest thing to say, I think Jermaine Johnson or Karlaftis are more plug-and-play, game-ready right now than Trayvon Walker. But the ceiling is way, way higher on Trayvon Walker.
And we got the right coaching staff. So I'm going to listen to the chat. I'm going to take Trayvon Walker. I'm a Jermaine Johnson guy right now at the moment, but I'm going to look at this guy's tape. I'm going to learn more about him. I'm not going to lie. Right now, at the moment, I'm a Jermaine Johnson, but I'm going to take Trayvon Walker because I said we'd say our piece and we'd let the chat decide. So we're going to take Trayvon Walker here. Why? I'm not right mouse clicking. Okay.
I've got a Walker video saved on my playlist. I'm going to watch it tonight. I got to watch this guy a little closer.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you're gonna like what you see. But like I said, it reminds me of Q, because Q has those plays sometimes where you're like, holy shit, how the hell did he do that? You know, when he blows the play up in the backfield, and then you see some plays where he's just like he disappears. You know, and that's what I got when I watched a lot of Trayvon Walker. Ceiling super high though. You can't argue. Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna argue with Trayvon Walker at that selection.
Okay, so we're going to look at first. We're going to look at the board, and then we'll look at the trades, which we're probably not going to be interested in. Okay, so let's look at the board. Okay, so you'll see, and don't think that Tyler Lindenbaum. And I'm not saying I know most Jet fans are not interested in it, but do not think for a second that Tyler Lindenbaum is not a possibility for JD in this organization. Like if this was to happen in real life, do not think that there's no chance this would happen, because there absolutely is the possibility that Joe Douglas might say, I'm going to build the best offensive line in football. But anyway, let's look at the board. Tyler Lindenbaum, Zion Johnson, who again, we signed Tomlinson, Chris Olave, Andrew Booth, Jermaine Johnson, Daxton Hill, Drake London's still there, Nakobe Dean is still there, Kyer Elam, Trent McDuffie, Kenyon Green, who's dropped all the way to 30 in the rankings, 31 Sam Howell, 32 Treylon Burks is still there, Lewis Seen, Perion Winfrey, Brisker, Devontae Wyatt, tons of good guys are still here. And remember, Tyler Lindenbaum is the best value as far as the ranking in this thing. And what I'm going to do is we're going to look at the trades. Okay. Someone wants to look at wide receiver. We'll do that right after the trade. I'm not going to do anything, I promise. Atlanta wants to offer 43.58 in the third. Okay, but we'd be going all the way down to 43. And Cleveland wants us to go down to 31, but they're only offering us 63. So they want us to go down 11 picks, and they're just giving us they're giving us a
second round,
end of the second round, first pick of the third round type pick. So are we interested in the trades?
The Cleveland trade is definitely a better trade in my opinion.
No question about that.
Especially value wise. I'm looking this up. Yeah, definitely Cleveland. Yeah, you'd be getting ripped off if you took trade number one.
Right.
I wouldn't take the trade, but agree if I have to choose, if the chat decides that they want to do one, I would definitely lean towards Cleveland.
Okay, so the chat is saying no trade. Somebody did want to look at the wide receivers on the board, so we can do that. Lot of good guys left.
Yeah, I think Williams and Wilson went. Those are the only two.
From a value perspective, I say that I see a lot of guys here that we can I'm happy with a lot of guys later in the second round. I mean, even from Pickens, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that you can make an argument for 7 guys here. So would we do that at 20 from a value perspective, or do we go Lindenbaum because he's the best guy left on the board, or do we start to look at the defense? I know that a lot of people are already saying Dean. I see, we're going to have a lot of arguments for Dean. And I see some arguments for Burks, but I think, and even in real life, I think Burks could be there in the second round. It's very possible.
I think my money would be for this pick. If we're staying, it's the wide receiver that we choose. I would prefer London or Nakobe Dean. I think this is the sweet spot for you get who is arguably the best linebacker in the class in Nakobe Dean at this spot.
Okay, so I'm going to Lavi is still there. I'm gonna make it a vote. Are we gonna go Dean or wide receiver. That's what we're going to start first. We're going to say Dean or wide receiver. So we don't have to decide the wide receiver right off the bat. First, we need to decide if we're even going to do it. So far I got 2 for Dean. Okay, so we're voting now. 2 for Dean so far. Make sure you get him in. I'm going to wait a couple of minutes because there's a delay. I got 3 for Dean.
Guys, vote once, please. Mark.
No. There's not enough people. I mean, so it
doesn't matter. Yeah.
So we got 5 for Dean, and they're definitely all different names because they're all on my screen. Wide out, so it's 5-1, 5-2. Of course, Spaghetti couldn't follow directions. 6-2. I pick on him. 6-3. Going once. Going twice. Sold. We are taking the Kobe Dean. I know that's going to make my boy Rusty very, very happy.
Yep. I would have gone Dean over wide receiver in this spot myself, so I'm good with it.
Yep. So here we go. This is fine. This is no reason to panic, everybody. We got extra picks. Don't forget. At the end, we're really going to appreciate that extra capital we built for next year. We can't forget about that. Dallas wants us to go down to 56 for 35. They'll give us a second and a fifth. I don't like it. I think we have too many needs, and this is too valuable a position in the draft to be in to take a trade like that.
You guys kept Dalton Schultz go kick rocks.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell both these trade offers to go kick rocks. They want us to go down too far. I'll consider going down to like 40 in this spot or 43. Well, come on, man. But I'm not. We're not going down that far. We're just not going to do it. So let's look. Let's look at the board, guys. I'm gonna put up the big board right now and see who we could choose.
Sam
from.
Howell, I'm sold. Draft the quarterback.
Oop, I lost you.
You lost it. Okay, so we got Perion Winfrey if you want defensive tackle or Devontae White. Breece Hall, I think it's too early for a running back. Roger McCreary, but Jahan Dotson's still there. That's why I was okay with the wide receiver situation. Trey McBride is flinging around up there in real life. You have to be worried that he's going to drop off the board. It seems that they went wide receiver heavy in the picks because I don't see a lot of wide receivers left. So if we go to wide receiver and I blow it up for you, okay, we got a bunch of guys though. So there's Jahan Dotson, Alec Pierce, Christian Watson. A lot of people like Pickens. I don't think he's in the class of the 3 above him. There are I think we lost Dom C.
Dom gone.
But anyway, here we are. He'll be back probably. Here we are. We got Jahan Dotson. My 2 out of the 3 that I like is Watson and Dotson, but I also know
Watson and Dotson.
I also know that Pierce is a good pickup. It's just what scares me about Pierce, and even Dom C said it. I know Dom C likes him, but Pierce, he said, didn't have any, like, he's solid and everything, but he's not great at anything.
Not great.
So, like, I don't know if he has any potential to be like a star.
If I have to go there, I'm going Watson, but I got to be honest, I'm kind of leaning towards Wyatt. I want to take care of that defensive tackle now, especially in this case. I think we need to.
Okay.
I mean, I remember, of course, we do have pick 38 as well. I feel like, maybe a receiver will get drafted, but there'll still be plenty of good ones to take later. And we have, 52 as well. So
we have 52 as well. So what does the draft want? I see some people saying McBride.
I'm getting a little bit of Wyatt support.
So far,
Trey McBride.
We got a couple for Wyatt, though. So
we're getting a little bit of that Wyatt action. Okay.
Tom's internet went down. We will be here. I'm just going to tell him we'll be here.
All right.
So I think it's the question of first we're going to say, okay, so here's the poll we should do. Let me figure out if I can figure out the poll right off the bat. Like right now, is there a way to do the poll? Green Bean figured it out live. Why not me?
You need a certain number of subscribers to do a poll?
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe, man. They're a little bit of a pain in the neck when it comes to that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's not showing up right now. So
Yeah, I don't have the capability. I think that's something you'd have to do.
darn, that sucks. Okay,
We'll make the best of it.
we'll make the best of it. I see a lot of Wyatt, believe it or not. I see a lot of Wyatt, and then some spread out things. Guys, let's start with. Let's make it easy. Let's narrow it down. So I'll give everybody one chance to have their voice heard. Okay. I'm going to say tight end. No, you know what? First, we're going to say defense or offense. Defense or offense, and then that'll make it easier to chop down. So defense or offense. So first, defense or offense. If it's defense, we're going to go cornerback or tackle. If it's offense, we're going to go tight end or wide receiver. So I see offense, defense. It's tied up so far. 1-2, 1 up, 1 up.
Oh, hey, Lee.
2-1 defense. 2-1 defense. 3-1 defense.
Yep, defense is pulling ahead a little bit. Yeah, it looks like 6-3 defense.
Okay. So,
all right. I think we're going D on this one.
okay, so we're going D on this one. Defense wins. Let me see what Dom is saying. Poor Dom. He's pissed off. He needs to reboot his Wi-Fi. Okay. All right, so we're going to go defense. Now the vote is, do we want to go defensive tackle or cornerback? Cornerback would most likely be like a McCreary. Or a defensive tackle would be Devontae Wyatt. So really, it's Devontae Wyatt or Roger McCreary. Okay, I see one for Wyatt already. We know we got Wyatt. Orlando is saying tackle, which is Wyatt.
Wyatt's pulling ahead. Yeah, I think Wyatt's got this one. It seems like once we hit like 6 or so, that's pretty much the vote.
Okay. Now, I think most people like Devontae Wyatt over Perion Winfrey, even though Winfrey is the higher ranked guy. Would you agree with that?
I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I think Wyatt's the guy that we're looking at. Yeah,
I think he's
Winfrey, I'm not as sold on, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he's the better fit for us. My brother is saying corner, but he doesn't know that we signed a corner already in free agency. So I don't think he knows that happened, that we signed a really good zone guy that's going to replace probably Eccles. Eccles and Hall, let's put it this way. Eccles and Hall are going to be fighting for a job now because this guy got a job locked up. So we didn't spend $11 million for a cornerback to draft one to start over him. So let's do. I think the corner that we would have taken if we took a corner is McCreary. Yeah, but we're gonna go for Devontae Wyatt, which I know the Jets love him from the Senior Bowl. You could tell.
Breece Hall and Perion Winfrey. Well done.
Okay, what?
Yeah, well done. The only guys that went were a running back and another defensive tackle. So I'm good with that.
There you go. Now here's an intriguing offer. Okay, this is something we must consider. We must consider this.
Okay.
We only have to go down 4 picks, but we get to move up about 40 picks, right? Or 50 picks even. Like
35 picks. That's it. Yeah.
Right. Oh, sorry. 35 picks?
You're good. I'm here for you.
35 picks. Welcome back.
Welcome back, Don.
So this is the trade offer. We go down 4 spots, but we go up 35 picks, which I want to let everybody's got to think about it. That's a full round. That is a full round. It's not small potatoes. 82 is going to offer a lot more talent and options than 117.
So what did I miss when
we took Devontae Wyatt?
We took Devontae Wyatt. Yeah,
35.
Everybody's saying take the trade.
Yeah, what's the other trade? We have another trade offer?
Look at the other trade first. But the other trade is down to 61 for a second rounder next year. So we're not going to consider. We already got some draft capital for next year.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants to take it, so let's do it. Let's take the trade. We'll see who we lost out on.
Hopefully, we can at least keep McBride or McCreary. Okay, so McCreary did go.
We lost out on McCreary.
And Indy wanted Sam Howell. Indy got their quarterback.
Yeah. Hey, look at this. We didn't lose out. Right. Wow. So we did not lose out on McBride if we want him, and we didn't lose out on a wide receiver. So we made out like bandits.
When's our next pick after 42?
52, I think.
Yeah, 52.
52.
We're picking 10 picks.
Yeah.
But I think
you got to consider wide out here. If we have
Jahan Dotson is still on the board.
Dotson's size does worry me a little bit. I know he's got great hands, but his size does concern me, I must say.
We're running out of wide receivers. Let's see who's
We
left.
are. Yeah, let's see what the receiver list looks like. We still have Watson.
Watson
We
is
can probably
still
grab
there.
Watson 52, but if we like him this much, I'm open to taking Watson now and then maybe going linebacker after this at 52.
Yeah. Alec Pierce is there too. The chat so far so far we got an
People
early
love
jump
Dotson.
on,
All right.
on Dotson. Let me tell you something. Dotson, man, a lot of people like him.
They do.
He is fast. Dotson is fast. He's good with the ball in his hands. I know everyone questions his size, but I wouldn't worry about it. You know, to have him and Elijah Moore on the field at the same time could be a terror for defenses. But I digress because I'm okay if we went Pickens. I'm okay if we went Watson. I'm okay if we went Jahan Dotson. Those are the three I'd look at for the wide receiver position. And, you know, I think wide receiver is of paramount importance right now. I wouldn't want to wait another 10 picks and risk losing out on those guys. You know, taking out of the equation the fact that the algorithm might leave one of those guys on there.
I love Watson, but the chat wants Dotson.
I kind of feel the same way. I feel like it's pretty tough, but I think the dot is just ahead of the Watt.
Yeah, so we're gonna just grab him, make the chat happy. I did promise that. We speak our piece and then we let the chat decide. Hey man, if we want to double up on linebacker, man, there's some good ones there. And Watson's still up there if we want to double up on wide receiver, but we really need a tight end. So here we are. We're at pick 52.
Could have been Brian Watson.
Green Bay is saying, hey, do you guys want to jump down 7 spots and move up 54 spots?
What is the chat thinking position-wise? What do you guys want to see here?
I think we got to look at tight end at some point, right?
I would think so. Yeah, we just lost Adam McBride, unfortunately, but I mean, there's still other quality tight ends to get. Weidermeyer does make me nervous. I mean, he drops quite a few passes. So I mean, Weidermeyer his stock has fallen quite a bit.
Yeah, he didn't test out. He was a little slower than I expected as well.
Remember, we have a pick at 69, so maybe it's a mistake to pick a tight end here.
I think I'd wait on tight end for right now. I wouldn't mind looking at offensive line at this point.
I know they want to look at offensive line, but
who's there?
But
Raven's there.
How are we going to play him, though? How do we play him?
Well, you don't necessarily have to play him, right? Realistically, you don't necessarily have to play him. You could take a pick, you could take a Bernard Rynum right now, and he's your swing tackle with the idea that he's going to take over for Fant if Fant doesn't come back or sign long term, or he sits for a couple years and is that injury protection for Mekhi Becton, because right now the depth on the offensive line isn't. It isn't great. We still don't have a backup. We still don't have a viable backup guard. We have Chuma Edoga at tackle.
Good night, Friggle D. And we'll definitely be looking at Troy Anderson for you, I promise. Show us the board. I'm going to show him the board. You sold me on tackle as a possibility. I understand now. You're right. Somebody always gets hurt. There's always injuries. We need to have somebody to come. I don't want Chuma Edoga coming in at tackle. If somebody goes down for 5 games, it's not an ideal situation. Here's the big board.
Yeah, Jeremy, at some point, can we recap the picks? I feel like I got to catch up. I got to make sure we know what we've done up to this point.
Just to take a quick look. Those linebackers on top are juicy, but man, we already have one, right? So I think we addressed a lot of things, so it is a good time to take a tackle.
We don't have to be
Because,
married to a position here. That's the main thing. We don't have to.
Yeah,
It's like we have several
exactly.
positions and we can pick our favorite player.
We have the ability to take, BPA all the way down. I think we filled holes between what we've done in free agency and the first 4 picks in this draft.
Man, we really addressed.
I could hear my brother screaming for offensive line, even though you know what I mean. I could hear my brother screaming offensive line.
I think offensive line makes total sense. I think safety makes total sense here.
Tight end, we can wait, I think, till 69, to be honest, at this point. Yeah. I think those other positions do make more sense. Safety and somewhere on the offensive line depth. I'm good with that.
And we're not hurting.
We don't know if we're keeping Fant, so
That's
it's
right.
okay if it's a guy who takes 1 year to develop. I'm good with that.
Yeah, there's no way I take safety now because of what we did in free agency and because I like the safeties that we can get later. I think like at 110 we still have a safety we can get. So I just don't see like the need to take safety yet, only because of what's there, the value that's there. Also, we can grab safety at 82 or 84. There's going to be Kirby, Kirby will be there. There's going to be some safeties at 82 and 84. So
I'm curious.
I like the tackle.
Who are the safeties on the board?
Petrie is there. I saw him. I think he's the highest run. That's special team. Yeah.
There's a lot of value in Petrie.
O'Neal, Joseph, McKinley. Yeah. Joseph or McKinley later on. I'm thrilled.
I think there's a handful of guys. We can grab a good guy later.
Yeah, because remember, Whitehead is more of a box safety. We love him, but he's like a missile. I mean, watch this guy's clips. Ooh, yeah.
He's a hitter. But Petrie he's that Swiss Army knife. He can do a little bit of both. He can play tough. He can play tough in the box. He can play single high deep. He can also man up no problem in the slot, which he did a lot at Baylor.
Sounds good to me, but I would steer clear. Leon O'Neal, from what I'm seeing, is more of a box safety type of guy, and we already have one of those. So O'Neal is not a guy I'm looking at safety. The more I'm looking at this, the more I'm thinking Raymond. I'm thinking offensive line depth. I want to get a tackle, maybe like a guy that we could develop as another starting tackle.
Well, if we look at tackles, you got Raymond Lucas. I have no interest in Filele because I'll never be able to say his name, so that'll just haunt me forever.
Filele?
Yeah.
Ukulele.
I don't see Rusty's guy. He's saying Kennard or something like that.
Marion Kennard from
Kennard, Kentucky.
Or Kentucky, sorry, yeah.
I don't see him at all. So we're not reaching that far down. We can get him later.
Yeah,
so,
Kennard's
111. Yeah, he's down at 111. I mean, that's too much of a reach right now to do that.
Well,
I know he loves them.
Realistically, this is the area where he's going to go. I mean, you got to take these rankings on PFN with a grain of salt.
Okay, so who's the better tackle though, Kennard or Raymond?
I've seen Raymond projected first round.
Yeah. Raymond's going to go in the first round.
I mean, I think that's a good, and I think Alec Lindstrom. It's a little soon for Alec Lindstrom even at center. Raymond's the guy that I'm thinking I would want. Yeah,
the guy. There's a guy like I don't know if he's been taking yet because I can't see the board. Tyler Smith. Offensive tackle out of Tulsa, who has he'll be 21 at the time the draft comes. He's probably already taken, my guess.
I have not seen Howard Smith. I have never seen that name in this draft board before.
Yeah, Tyler Smith?
Oh, Tyler Smith. I thought you said Howard Smith. Yeah,
no, Tyler Smith.
I don't see him.
Yeah, he's probably been already drafted. He's the guy that I really, really, really like. That guy's he's a physical specimen. He's fast. He's quick. He has the ability to play
45
and guard.
45. He was taken.
Yeah, he was taken by the Ravens.
They know what they're doing.
So, I mean, I'll let the chat decide. I mean, I'm thinking Raymond here, but you're saying that Kennard is good too. So screw their rankings. Rusty loves Kennard. So I'm going to let the chat decide. Do we want Kennard or do we want Bernard Raymond? I'm going to call him the Rain Man.
Yeah, the Rain Man. Jeffrey R is calling him the Rain Man. That's
so far it's a tie. Jeffrey wants the Rain Man. Rusty wants Kennard. Everybody else decide now. Forever hold your peace. We're waiting for the chat to come in.
One more Bernard Raman.
No, that's still Jeff. Same guy.
Silva
Take
State.
Rucker.
Silva wants Petrie or Rucker.
No. We're already decided we're going to tackle. We can get. We got tons of picks. We're going to get those guys. Next pick, we're going to look at Rucker
There's
or
good
Petrie.
safeties to get. Yeah, we can
Right,
still
okay,
get
so
a
it's-
very good safety with our next pick. Don't worry
So
about that.
I'm sorry, Rusty Jets fan, but you're outvoted. If it was you and me, just the two of us, I might listen to you because I know you find those diamonds. But we're going to have to take Raymond. Okay.
Wow.
Wouldn't let me take it. Okay.
Pretty
Here we
good
go.
value.
Okay. So
Bernard
let's-
Rahman, we went with.
Who did I take?
You took Bernard Rahman, right?
Yeah. Ramen, Noodles himself.
I took
Ramen
the Rain
Noodles.
Man. I took the Rain Man. So now we're at 69. We have not taken a tight end. I've got to say, we've not taken a tight end, which is absolutely insane to me.
That's
I
crazy.
like CJ, but not that much.
69, 82, 84. Okay.
Plenty of room for safety here, in my opinion. Plenty of room. We need a tight end. Don't you think?
Those trades. Yeah. Let's go to the tight end list. Jeremy, are you
Wydermyer is
frozen?
Still there. Why? I see this guy, Greg Dulcich. Am I frozen?
You were for a second, like you buffered for a moment, but I think you're all right.
What do you think of Greg Dulcich?
His name is shooting up the rankings. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, listen, he's a good player. He was, UCLA is they're kind of like an anomaly. Their offense was, Chip Kelly and just he wasn't utilized as much. He's one of those guys who will probably be better pro. But he has the size, he has the skill set that he could be a viable NFL tight end. But I listen, maybe it's just from familiarity's sake. I take Rucker and not even question it here.
Yep, I'm
Okay.
good with going. Yeah, I'm good with Rucker in this spot.
Some people think we're reaching, and now I want to look at the big board to give the chat a chance because I will admit Jalen Petra is still there.
I gotta
And
tell
that-
you, I love Tariq Woolen at cornerback. That guy runs like nobody's business.
Yeah, 4.2 something, right?
Yeah, Woolen. Yeah, that's a guy to watch for.
Yep. So
Yeah, we haven't addressed cornerback in this draft either, so keep that in mind.
Yep. We have not addressed cornerback, although we did address it in free agency a little bit.
Yes.
Listen,
So
if we went to war with the cornerback room that we have right now, I'm okay with it.
I can live with it.
If there's got to be one position that gets, for lack of better word, overlooked, I'm okay. I'm okay running it back with the cornerbacks that we have right now. I know we're going to leave it up to the chat, but I think it's insane that if we pass up Jalen Petrie here.
yeah, I think from a value perspective, it's crazy. From a value perspective, I mean,
The
why
gap between Petrie and the next safety that we would seem viable, opposed to the gap between those tight ends that are there.
Yeah.
The tight end gap is a lot smaller. I would absolutely take Jalen Petrie here.
Yeah.
I was thinking Petrie or Ruckert made the most sense, but yeah, Petrie has the ceiling. I'm good with taking the safety right now.
The chat was all about waiting for a tight end to the next pick, so we'll go for Petrie.
Okay.
And now we're going to look at the big board. We're not doing that trade.
No.
Whoa, what? I am not right mouse clicking. What is wrong with this?
35 more pick? I don't think so. We have 82 and 84. Okay.
Yeah. So we're in good shape right now. We got 2 picks coming up.
Yeah.
We just took a really good safety. Alec Lindstrom, if you want your future center, possibly is there. Kobe Bryant, a very good cornerback, is there.
Phenomenal cornerback.
Yeah, phenomenal cornerback. Now let's look at the tight ends just so we can see. I mean, you're going to keep talking us back. Eventually, some teams are going to take these tight ends in real life. I mean, I don't know how far they're going to slip. We're at 82 right now, so it's still a reach. We don't have to take a tight end yet.
And New England's got 2 picks right behind us, so we get to keep somebody away from them, which would be nice.
Yeah. So we don't need a tight end with this pick. Eagles go in between the two picks, so we got to think about who they might take.
Well,
if they
click on the Eagles logo. Who have they taken so far? It's a question.
They didn't
Edge,
take Lindstrom.
linebacker, cornerback, tight end, wide receiver.
They might take Lindstrom here.
That's quite a draft.
Yeah, that's a good draft.
Right? I mean, I don't like Kendrick, but other than that, man, they got some names.
Yeah.
I would think that, let's see, wide receiver, linebacker. Yeah, I really feel like their biggest needs, they've hit all of them, really.
Yeah.
I'm about Ruckert with this pick. Lock it down.
I would go Ruckert. Yeah, I'm good with Ruckert as well.
See, I don't think it's reaching in real life. I think in real life, at this point, Ruckert might not even be there.
Get it out of the way. Yeah, just get it out of the way. Yeah. They took Kirby Joseph.
Denver wants us to go down to 96. They're not really offering us a lot back for that, I don't think. 146 to 115. Screw them. Chicago wants us to go back into nowhere's lands.
No.
All right, so let's look and see at the big board what we have left. Kingsley Engelbert. He dropped down the boards, and he dropped down in this draft. It's interesting. Lindstrom is still there. I do want to say that. Lindstrom is still there. Kobe Bryant, cornerback, is still there.
Could go running back. There's a couple of guys here we're taking. Calvin Austin still kicking around.
There's some good guys here. There's a lot of quality guys left here. It's no joke.
I know the guy. I know the guy I like.
Okay.
I like Quay Walker here.
I'm not familiar with Quay Walker, to be honest with you.
Good. Again, another one of those Georgia defenders. Solid linebacker, flies up and down. Flies sideline to sideline. Could step in. I mean, as we're constituted right now, with Nakobe Dean, probably not going to see too much on the field, but you pair up, say Mosley is a casualty next year, we can get off his contract relatively cheap, and you have Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean as your two set linebackers for the next 10 years. He's a player. And
so
again,
drifting,
realistically, if we're talking realistic, Quay Walker's going in the second round without question.
So we would be drafting two linebackers from Georgia.
We would.
Okay.
Wow. Channing Tindall, if he's still there, he's another option. He plays more of that rover or the star, kind of like that.
Yeah. Mark Orlando's saying that Quay Walker also, so he's in the know.
Yeah.
I guess it's between. I'm going to ask the chat this. Okay, we'll put Quay Walker in the vote. Okay, and we'll put Alec Lindstrom if we want to go center, because understand that if we brought in Alec Lindstrom, we could hold on to McGovern and get depth at guard, because McGovern could move over if one of our guards got hurt, right? So we're going to say, do you guys want Lindstrom or Quay, the linebacker?
You don't want to include Kobe Bryant on this? We haven't gone corner yet. I mean, we don't have to, but
listen, it again, we're in a wonderful position considering we have 12 draft picks and already filled a lot of holes in free agency. We can take the best player available.
Okay, right. we ignored the chat at 82, so we're gonna. I'm getting a complaint. We ignored the chat at 82.
Yeah, and he's had a little bit of a temper tantrum. So,
but the problem is the chat is all over the place, so we have to narrow you down. Green Bean goes through this all the time. We'll be here all night. There's we have to narrow it down. So how do you want to narrow it down? You want to say offense or defense, but we have to narrow it down in order to get anywhere, because you're just throwing out names. Now, I got 2 for Walker if you want to do a flat out vote, but we might win with just 2 votes because everybody's so spread out. So plus everyone's acting like this is real. Like by tomorrow, we're not going to totally forget what happened.
Rusty says Leo is better than Walker.
Bye, Jeffrey. All right, if you want to be that miserable, then
Rusty is always going to do that. He's counting guys that are ranked 150 overall, and realistically, if we're going to grab those guys, we're not going to grab them in front of Quay Walker. That's not going to happen, right? Rusty's saying Lindstrom, but Jeffrey's mad. He's saying bye. I don't understand why he's saying bye. I just said we would let the chat.
Because he's he said he was upset that we apparently ignored the chat at 82, even though a lot of people were wanting Ruckert anyway. So,
well, I think we can get one pick on our own too. Like we let the chat decide everything. So I don't get it. Like what we don't get to pick at all. Leo's different, but Walker has already played with the guys we drafted.
Listen, Leo Chanel is he's a fabulous player. I'm not knocking that. I just don't know how much he fits in our scheme. You know, he's more of a 2-down thumper. You know, your traditional old school kind of linebacker. And again, not saying that he can't fit, but I think the way that defenses are moving, especially our defense, you want to have those quick guys that can not only dart into the hole, but, you know, can hold their own in their zones, understand the routes as they're coming across them, so on and so forth. That's why I would say Quay Walker over Leo Chanel in this spot. But
yeah, I mean, my thing is, yeah, like I like all these guys. I guess what I'm saying is,
Rusty, hang on one second, Rusty. I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm not saying you don't watch games. I'm just giving my opinion.
I mean, not all of everybody's picks is going to hit, right? Like Rusty, like all your picks are not going to hit. Like they're not, right? And if they do, then I'll never doubt you again. Next year, you're just the man. I'm going to do everything you say if everyone hits. But like, it's not nobody here. There are guys I like that are not going to hit. There are guys Dom likes that are not going to hit. There are guys Adam likes that are not going to hit. I mean, it's like there's no way. Like you already turned us on to Kyle Phillips and I love Chanel. I mean, there's plenty of guys, but they're not all going to hit. We're going to miss on some, right? We're going to miss. So we can't be 100%. Oh, this is definitely going to happen. I love Leo Chanel. I do. I just don't know if this is where we take him. He might be the better player, but maybe he's available at 116, right? So do we want to take him at 84? Like, what was the point of trading down and getting the 84th pick and then use it on a guy that we could have gotten at 116? It doesn't make sense to me. But I understand that the real argument can be just grab the right player. But I think the way we got to narrow it down is defense versus offense, okay? Because you even said Lindstrom also. So now, I'm confused now. I don't even know who people want. So let's say offense versus defense. Can we do that vote? And then we can narrow this down? Because Silva really wants center, and I want center. I think it makes sense.
I would go Lindstrom.
Huh?
I would go Lindstrom myself. I'm good with it.
I mean, the reason I'm saying that is because if you go center here, you do get depth on your offensive line because McGovern could be moved over. So you could let Lindstrom develop on the bench, but have a backup right guard in play. But so far I got 2 votes for defense, and I'm okay with that. So we got 2 votes for defense. Two votes for defense.
Yeah, that's it. 2 votes for defense.
I'm going to wait a little bit longer because it's delayed.
Yeah, Jeffrey would be disappointed to know how much attention we're paying to the vote right now.
Yeah, he unsubscribed. He unsubscribed too. It's like, what? Good riddance. We're going to go defense. That's what the vote wants. Okay, so here we go. Defense. Now it's between 2 linebackers, I guess, right? Because we talked about linebackers. It's Quay Walker or Leon Chanel. Oh, now Freeman said center. It's a little late. We said defense. We voted for that. We're going to go defense. So now, is there anybody? So we want Leo Chanel or Quay Walker. So we got one for Chanel, one for Quay. It's one up. Oh no, two for Walker. 2-1 Walker.
Chanel's got a vote.
1 Walker. Rusty hasn't voted yet though, and I know he's Chanel, so that's 2 up. So it's 2 up. I don't know why Rusty didn't vote, but he didn't vote yet. So
Another Quay vote.
oh, does Walker take it? I think Walker. I think Quay.
Yeah, I
Walker.
think Walker's going to take this one. Yeah.
Okay, so Quay Walker takes it. I tried.
Yeah, I think we got to pick up the pace a little bit.
Yeah, we got to. I mean, this is crazy. He just unsubscribed to my channel because he says we ignored one pick from the chat.
One pick.
And he got mad and left, and he's never coming back to a channel that he liked the show and he liked the channel because he didn't get his way in a mock pretend draft. Are you kidding me?
We're Jets fans. We're supposed to be a little bit
I mean,
mentally tough than that.
You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. I mean, egg.
Bye, Felicia.
Oh. So many fine linebackers left, only one good center.
There was one good center left. I don't know about anymore.
Okay, so let's see what we have. We have Trayvon Walker at edge, Nakobe Dean linebacker, defensive tackle. Man, we're heavy defense.
Yeah.
Oh boy, we're heavy defense. But we got Jahan Watson at wide receiver. We did get Jeremy Ruckert at tight end. So we did get Bernard Raymond. We bulked up the offensive line. We got a great safety in Jalen Petra. This is a great draft. I mean, chat's doing a great job in their voting because this is a great draft. Quay Walker at linebacker, so we doubled up on linebacker. It's a very solid draft. The only thing I'm worried about is I don't know Trayvon Walker as much at edge. I really hope he pans out because that's the most important position, you know? We only have 2 picks.
You can always double up at edge here. Never hurt. Like I said, at this point, we're using the house's money.
Yeah, and for the Troy Anderson crowd, I'm not sure if we're going to take 3 linebackers in one draft. That might be overkill.
I know, but we love Troy Anderson.
We may as well. We're going to have the greatest linebacking corps since the '86 Giants.
Me and John Silver love John Silver. Mark, you're saying that it'll pan out? Then I'm happy. I hope so, man. From your mouth to you know where.
Braden, Donovan West, my man.
I know that
he was the guy. He was the guy that one of the guys I focused on and talked about in my Green Bean article when I was talking about the lineman. He's a great. Listen, he's in this range. He's a 4th, 5th, 6th round pick, but he's got the versatility. He ran the same offensive scheme or the same blocking concepts at Arizona State as we're running now. Has center and guard flexibility. Good player.
I think we should take a look at running backs. We haven't gone there yet.
Yes, I like that. I like that, Adam.
we totally forgot about running back. I can't believe that.
Scroll up. Yeah, James Cook is I knew Cook was the top one. So Cook, Robinson.
Ryan Robinson, Zonovan Knight is somebody who loves him. You did, right? You surprised me the other day. Yeah.
Zonovan Knight, Damian Pierce, those are my guys.
Pierce is good. Oh yeah.
Hassan Haskins, I like him.
There's certain guys, we do these mock drafts we kind of fall out of love with because we hear about them so much. Like first it was Linderbaum, then it was McBride, Hassan Haskins. We had a little 3-week love affair with him, and now that's kind of fading away too. So, yeah, I think we're always looking for somebody new to get excited about.
So this is a good point by Cyril. I just thought that I would highlight that. It's something that offense to do. We did a lot for the offense on day one of the free agency, and that's the whole point, right? To give us flexibility. And people have said that go strong on offense because it's a stronger defensive draft. So people have said that. So this would be a logical thing. So Rusty, of course, is different. Rusty and Dom do you guys agree on anything? You guys are just opposite each other.
Well,
Like
listen,
Dom doesn't like Kyle Phillips. Rusty loves him. Dom doesn't like Troy Anderson. Rusty or Leo Chanel. You guys are just.
Dom, you don't like Kyle Phillips?
no, I didn't say I didn't like Kyle Phillips. I think Kyle Phillips is a guy. That's it. And that's the beautiful thing is that we're entitled to our opinions.
I know, but some people unsubscribe to channels and leave the chats open. What's funny is he didn't even lose his guy. The guy that left, I forgot his name already. He didn't even lose his guy.
Yeah,
like
you gotta get over that one. You'll get 10 subs for that one lost one.
Yeah, there's always going to be an egg.
Yeah, people subscribe just because they know that he's not here anymore.
Right. Cook, Robinson, Zonovan Knight, Cairo. Okay, so we got to narrow this down now. Rusty, you got your guy on the last pick, right? No, he didn't. Rusty keeps losing, and I feel bad because Rusty's my boy.
2 picks left.
Okay.
Because we traded 160.
Rusty is happy automatically because we got Nakobe Dean. Okay. Rusty is happy no matter what because we got Nakobe Dean. So no matter what happens, he wins.
Sure. Oh, hey, Grandizer. How you doing? Grandizer just joined the chat.
Grandizer, what's up? Those late-minute Jet signings, a cornerback and free safety.
We're doing just fine. Thank you.
We're
I'm
very happy.
Feeling pretty good yourself.
Yeah, man. Everyone's feeling good about free agency. A lot of teams.
I'm assuming he's talking about Reed and Whitehead, and there's not a lot to dislike unless you want to, unless you were that, had your heart set on Marcus Williams, like most of us did.
Just watch a 3-minute clip on Jordan Whitehead, folks, if you haven't. The instincts this guy has. The way he was chasing down quarterbacks, running backs, the way he could anticipate the ball. Like I could see him reading the eyes of the quarterback as the ball was being thrown. Like when they had the camera behind the quarterback and you could see, the way that he was reacting as the quarterback moved. It was something else to watch for a kid who's so young. We're really going to enjoy watching him for the next 2 years and hopefully longer. The more I'm watching, the more I like this guy.
Yeah.
Yes,
I have to agree. He was the guy I targeted on in my little off-season mock for the Jets, just because I didn't think at the time that Williams was going to be realistic for us or for JD for that matter.
I'm good with most of these running backs: Cook, Robinson, Knight, even Pierce. I mean, pretty much any of those guys I'm good with. Yeah, I'm not feeling too partial about any of them.
I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to blow up the wide receivers, and the chat's going to decide whether they want to go wide receiver or running back. Okay, so here are the wide receivers. Remember, guys, it's. I want you to also pay attention to the rank. Now, again, in real life, I love Kyle Phillips. He's ranked 173. I happen to think that it is true in the 5th round at our 146. Our last pick, Kyle Phillips will still be there. I think there's a chance that Kyle Phillips will be there as an undrafted free agent, or he's going to go in the 6th or 7th round. So if this was the real draft, I think that Kyle Phillips would be our last pick if Joe Douglas knows who he is. So if Joe Douglas has Kyle Phillips on his board, he probably has him at 146.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just say. And I think it's realistic. I don't think somebody's taking Kyle Phillips before at 110. I don't think at this point of the draft he's going to go. I don't think we have to worry about losing him. I think we're going to be able to get him. So that's my thinking right now. Okay, you're saying no way. You see him, but the world doesn't see him. I'm looking at every single draft ranking thing, and they have him as a 6th, 7th round projected guy. So, I mean, and I love him. I think they're crazy, and I agree with you that he's not. But that's the perception of the guy. Don't forget, Green Bean thought that Kenny Yeboah was going to go in the 4th round.
Yes. Well said.
Okay, so I'm telling you, he's going to be there. We're going to get him. Brian Roberts. Okay, so let's just grab a running back. I think most of the chat wants a running back, right? So we're going to do it.
Why don't we do this? If we're going to go running back, why don't we see what kind of running back the chat wants?
Okay. Do you want the power guy?
Do you want that big bruiser? Do you want a speedier guy, the third down running back style? Do you want, kind of a little both? Because I think we got all of that looking at these 5 names that Jeremy's got up on the board right here.
I think that's a good way to do it. I like
What's the best fit for the guys that we have in the room right now?
Do you want a power running back, or do you want a fast, speedy running back who catches passes, explosive kind of thing? Or do you want a power back who could pound out those yards for us? James Cook said, Young Spaghetti wants James Cook, and he wants to cook you chicken cutlets. So
he's like...
So it sounds like Orlando.
that says it all right there.
So they're not listening to what we're asking for. So Rusty wants a power back because he's saying Haskins.
Uh-huh.
Mark Orlando wants a speedster because he's saying White, who run a 4.4.
Now, Zamir White's an interesting. He's an interesting prospect. I like him a lot. I like him over the other Georgia running back, Cook. Because Zamir White is fast, but he still does a lot of work in between the tackles. Prototypical one cut and go kind of guy. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a lot of wiggle, but he's got good long speed. As he said, 4.4. I don't know exactly. I'm going to trust Mark for what he's posting. I don't know exactly what his time is, but
man, I wish I could do polls. That would save so much aggravation. If we could just do a poll.
I'm feeling the power guy myself. Like Robinson, 6'1", 225. He's pretty big, and Knight's built more like a tank, 5'10", 209. For me, I want the power guy. I want a guy who can convert that 3rd and 1 behind this offensive line. That's what I'm looking at.
If you're talking the power guys, it's that. I mean, I think it's and maybe not in this order, but Pierce first and foremost, Zonovan Knight and Brian Robinson. I mean, Brian Robinson, I think he's very, very good. He's big, he's strong, but I think he lacks some of the other skill sets that both Zonovan Knight and Damian Pierce has, with sturdy, reliable hands. And it could be the fact that Alabama just didn't have to use him out of the backfield. Like most of his receptions were check down, so on and so forth. He didn't run a lot of routes, but he's going to be I think he's a short yardage thumper. I think that's what his niche is going to be.
I'm going to ask one other question about these guys, Dom. Do you know if any of these guys, if their run blocking stands out or pass blocking stands out one way or another? Because it's not just about running. We also have to look at blocking, especially in this offense.
Sure. Robinson did a good job in his pass blocking. And again, I think it really gears around what the offense required of him. Like I said, they threw the ball a lot. And he's not afraid to step up, put his body in front of there. He did a very good job pass blocking. I can't speak to the Georgia running backs on how they did in regards to pass blocking. They split time, and I just wouldn't know. I would just be making something up if I did.
Okay, I'm telling you what we're going to do. The first running back who's named twice. It's like everyone in the chat vote. Whoever wants to vote. The first running back that comes up twice by 2 different people in the chat wins. So everybody vote for your guy. We're looking for the first running back that has 2 votes. The first running back that gets to 2 votes.
Cook.
Okay, starting now,
White.
guys. Come on, get him in there. Get him in
Cook.
there.
Cook
White.
wins. It's Cook.
Wins?
Cook wins.
It's Cook.
Of course, Rusty votes for Horvath.
That's okay. I mean, Rusty is really look. Every guy we've looked at that Rusty likes pans out. But understand about Horvath. Okay, Horvath is a guy that absolutely 100% we might get as an undrafted free agent. Okay, maybe not, but it's not the end of the world if you don't. But we might get him as an undrafted free agent. Okay, isn't it? I thought he was a fullback, but he's listed as a running back.
Yeah, I've seen listed at different spots. Okay, let's see.
They list him as a running back here.
Okay.
But I think of him more as I thought he was a fullback, but when we looked at the tape, they were showing him as a running back. So, and he's awesome. I love Horvath. I love Horvath. I am so with Rusty on it. I love him. I love him. I love him. But I think we can get him as an undrafted free agent. Really. He's ranked like 270 on this thing.
Grandizer said that was the worst.
because I didn't watch any. I didn't watch one speck of film or highlights on him. So
You played for Purdue, which
Yeah.
we were. Which we're not against Purdue running backs, though, are we?
that's funny though, because I didn't even maybe he was on the field when I would looking at David Bell, but it didn't ring a bell. Very apropos.
Hey guys, look who's on the board at 146. Look who's still available. It's our guy, John Ridgway, defensive tackle.
He's still there.
I promised Rusty something. Rusty will never forgive me. So let's go to offense. Let's look at wide receiver.
We're just getting Kyle
I'm
Phillips.
sorry, guys. I'm just gonna override everyone and say we're going with Rusty Spooner here because
Jeffrey would be offended by this because we didn't pay attention to what he wanted.
I know, but we already lost them, so it doesn't matter. So Kyle Phillips, you're the guy, and
All right.
of all the things to lose a sub over, I know. Look at Dante saying, Jeremy, you have 338 subs. You lost one. Get over it. Okay, so here's our draft, guys. Here's our draft.
Who's this James Christian McCaffrey has been traded to the Commanders for their number 11 pick in the 2022 draft? I don't know who this Jameson guy is, but is this? I find this a little hard to believe. I'm thinking we might have some fake
the
news here. I'm
That's
thinking this is fake news here.
What's the news?
Yeah, it's got to be fake news.
What's the claim of news?
That Christian McCaffrey was traded to Washington for the number 11 overall pick. I'm not buying this.
They have Antonio Gibson there.
Who's reporting it? Do they have a blue check next to it?
Some guy came in, Jameson, and he just typed it out in quotes. So
and then left. It was like a hit and run.
I don't even know if he's left yet, but that's the only post he's had so far. So I guess he's just probably having a little fun.
I mean, that's a weird thing to come in and make up, though, isn't it?
It does seem random, but I think Twitter would be blowing up right now, and
there's nothing on Twitter about it.
Yeah, the last news I see is the Browns signing Jakeem Grant, the return. Yeah, the guy who stole Braxton Berrios' Pro Bowl spot as a returner. They signed him to a contract for 3 years. So,
yeah. Okay, so let's look at the draft and see how we did, guys. Let's see. I mean, it was kind of like a mix of us and the chat, and it was like 20 and a half the chat, 20 and a half people in the chat, plus the three of us. I hope you get that humor. Trayvon Walker is our edge. He was the first guy we took because we traded down. So we keep our fingers crossed. You never know with an edge, right? I mean, Vernon Gholston was a can't-miss guy once, and he never got a sack. Trayvon Walker is our edge. We're going with him. He's from Georgia. Hard to imagine that he's not going to work out. We have a lot of guys from Georgia. Our first 3 picks of the draft from Georgia. So these guys are going to be thrilled to stay together. Wow. They know each other. They're friends probably. They know secrets about each other. We got Trayvon Walker, Nakobe Dean, and Devontae Wyatt. We basically got Georgia's defense.
We also got
Quay Walker.
Huh?
And Quay Walker.
And then Quay Walker later.
That's coming later. We're crazy.
We should just change our.
Okay,
yeah, we're now the Bulldogs. We may as well just change our names and change our colors.
So let's think about our team on defense now, right? We got 2 very good linebackers from Georgia. From free agency, we got a safety and a cornerback. We've added an edge, and we got Lawson coming back. We got another safety in the back there. So it's pretty exciting. Our defense is going to be completely revamped, I think. I mean, you can't really look at last year.
We got Dan Cook from Georgia too. We got 5 Georgia players. And listen, if you want to draft guys who are battle tested, why not take one? Why not take them from the national champions? Right.
The only one we didn't get is Pickens. So
there you go.
And we could have had him over.
Come on, Chad. You went with Dotson.
So we got our defense would look totally different if this happened next year, right? We'd be going in with 2 new edges, Lawson and Trayvon Walker. We'd be going in with Nakobe Dean, who's an absolute ridiculous stud. Quay Walker. I mean, so with CJ, so we'd be stacked at linebacker. We'd be going in with a new defensive tackle next to Q Williams, a run stuffing Devontae Wyatt with Q Williams. It's beautiful. Whole new defensive line. Jahan Dotson, a lot of people like him and have him as a first-round wide receiver. Really good weapon. Bernard Raymond gives us depth and on the behind the scenes in the offensive line. More safety help with Jalen Petra. Jeremy Ruckert, that gives us a tight end to go along with CJ. We already talked about Quay Walker. We get a running back who's very good at catching passes. People really like him. He's in a good bloodline with his brother, so that's exciting. And then we get Kyle Phillips, a guy a lot of people don't know about, but a lot of us Jets fans know about. We all fell in love with him one night on this show. Really good another special team guy to consider if Braxton doesn't stay around forever. But also just a guy, he's like kind of like reminds me of Chris Hogan. Like you could nickname him 7-Eleven. He's always open, creates a lot of space, very explosive, very popular amongst us. And then we added some on top of all that, because now Zach Wilson has a better offensive line through free agency in the draft. We have depth on the offensive line. He's added another weapon at wide receiver. He's got 2 new tight ends. We got another running back that he could throw to, another safety valve. We have all this, and next year we're going to have 2 second-round picks and 2 third-round picks. I'm liking it, guys. I'm liking this scenario. I'm liking our team. I think we could win. I think this New York Jets would win 8 games next year. I feel confident unless Zach Wilson makes no progress and takes a step backwards. I say this is a team that could take the next step and win 8 to 9 games. What do you guys? What say you?
For me, I'm gonna go. I got to admit, there's a few guys here I really haven't spent a whole lot of time looking at. Like I really don't know a whole lot about Quay Walker, and I actually need to watch I need to watch both Walkers actually, to be honest with you. But I would probably grade the 2 and the 3 is what I would have given it maybe a B off the players, probably a solid B. But I think getting that 2nd and the 3rd from Pittsburgh, I think that's going to make it an A-. That extra draft capital means something for me. So I'm going A-.
We only got 2 linebackers, Braden, and we didn't sign anybody in free agency.
Exactly. That's what we were basing it on. Yep. Because right now it's basically who are starting linebackers? Mosley, Quincy Williams. I mean, Blake Cashman's still hanging around.
Damian Sherwood.
By the way, I'm
Sherwood if he comes back off his Achilles.
I'm totally manipulating technology to make it that Braden was agreeing with me when I said we drafted only 2, and it's true because there's no way the delay that he typed it in response to that. But I'm just going to pretend that that's what I did. So, but I haven't done a Braden.
I responded to him. Yeah, I responded to him in the chat actually. So
I haven't done a Braden imitation at all. So I'm just gonna very quickly just say, little too many linebackers. Forget it. I blew it. Too many linebackers. Okay, that was better. Too many linebackers. We got an A from Mark Orlando. That's cool. Hey, Mark.
All right.
If you've never subbed up, please sub up. I need to make up for the sub I lost. So if you haven't
let's get over it.
Now I'm just making people feel sorry for me. He left and he
Dude, after doing that accent, you just lost 50 more subscribers.
I offered to give away a card. We should bring us back. Sub up. Yeah, the extra second rounder always makes for a well-rounded draft. Grandizer says in this show in lieu of Wacky World of Jeremy. It is the Wacky World of Jeremy. B plus A from Rusty Spooner. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't. You can't go lower than B plus.
I don't think. I think realistically, if this was our draft, it'd be damn near impossible not to give it an A.
In real life, yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, we've just had so many killer drafts recently. Like some of these mock drafts have turned out so well that it's easy to compare the current draft to what we've done before. And if there's some guys that we don't know as well, we're not going to have as big of a wow factor. So,
I mean, I wish it would happen like this. I wish some of the drafts we do, the mocks we do, would go down like this. It would be a dream come true. especially because the trade's getting us extra picks and then getting these guys that we love. And, I know Rusty is happy if we get Kyle Phillips and the Kobe Dean. Rusty's happy.
A
You
plus.
know, he's going to be mad during the draft because not all his guys are going to get picked. But if the Jets seriously got the Kobe Dean and then at the end just grabbed Kyle Phillips, can you imagine how happy he'd be?
We would need a live video reaction. Rusty, if that have a video camera ready, please have it on for every Jets pick. And if Kyle Phillips gets selected, you need to send us that video.
JC wants to come on with Rusty at the same time. Hopefully we wouldn't have a brawl. I think Green Bean lost more subscribers when him and Jeremy sung "Happy Birthday" to my daughter. That was great, though, Jeremy. Yeah. Green Bean. He definitely tells me stories. He's like, I lost a few, and he goes, some of them come back. Did you see Morgan Moses sign with Baltimore?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, we did see that.
Yeah.
We did that. Good for him. He got paid.
That's fine.
He made the right decision. He came
got
to us.
He got an opportunity to start. Got $5 million a year, average annual value. Can't hate on him for it.
He got exactly what he did exactly what he went out to do. The four horsemen of Rusty is Dean, Leo, Phillips, and McCreary.
Woo!
I think if we got 2 out of the 4, you got to like that. Also, in real life, we might not get any. So if we get 2 out of the 4 in real life, you got to be really happy with that. McCreary would definitely fill up our corner room. Like, we're done at corner if we got a guy like McCreary. Look, I like him a lot. I like Kyler Gordon. I like McCreary for, one of those mid-round picks. I wouldn't complain if we got one of them. No matter what we do, it's going to disappoint me and make me happy at the same time because, there's so many guys that we love, right? I think all of us, we're going to be sad and happy at the same time no matter what we do. Hopefully we'll be happy. Hopefully we're not going to pick guys that piss us off.
Yeah, I gotta admit, am I the only one? I swear, when I saw the Jordan Whitehead contract, I was convinced it was $14.5 million per year. I was convinced of it.
I was surprised. I know we talked about this in our chat, but I was surprised that it came out only 2 years. And like I said, it's got to be one of 2 reasons. Either they sold him on the idea that he's going to be able to get another contract and get paid while he's still in his prime, or they really like this safety class and say, listen, we'll grab one of these safeties. We'll let Jordan Whitehead be here for 2 years. And then, we'll get compensation. We'll get a compensation pick for him.
Jeremy, did you tell Y2K that you're going to get a cutout cardboard of Hank the Angry Drunken Dwarf behind you in your studio? Did I say I was going to do that? I was going to do Eric the actor because he lived in Sacramento. So if I'm going to do any of Howard Stern's Whack Pack, if they start comparing me to Howard Stern's Whack Pack, we're in trouble, guys, because we're the Whack Pack. Green Beans Howard Stern, and we're the Whack Pack. Can you ask Dante if he'll come to my wedding? Okay, you're invited to his wedding. You might want to go. Green Bean's probably going. I'm going. It's a good time, Dom. He's probably gonna have a big Long Island wedding with lots of food and everything. We'll get drunk. We'll have a good time.
As long as the bar is open, we'll get through it.
Can't wait.
Even Y2K is invited.
He'd miss me if I wasn't there. Let's be honest.
What? Yeah, he'd definitely miss you if you weren't there. He needs you there. He needs you there. Like when they say, "Does anybody object to these two getting married?" Everybody's going to turn and look at you, Adam. Like trying to
Grandizer. To answer your question, I think he's going. I think there's going to be a rotation again. They played a lot of time with multiple safeties on the field, not just 2. But in your standard base defense, I think right now, as constituted, he's going to probably start ahead of Ashton Davis, because I don't think Ashton Davis is meant to be a single high free safety.
Absolutely not. No, it should be Joyner and Whitehead as starting safeties, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's probably how it'll be.
Yeah.
And Joyner's Joyner was kind of misconstrued as a slot cornerback when he was in Oakland, but He is this Jeffrey? Jeffrey's back, man.
No, he's not. I'm just fucking with you. I'm reliving history. I want to see how it broke down. First, he said, "I'm not voting no more."
I'm surprised they put like a crying emoji next to it for crying out loud.
You guys ignored the chat at 82. You could have gotten Rucker here. You didn't even try. Bye. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. Was that mean?
Spaghetti thinks that that I think this is my show.
Oh boy.
You know what, Spaghetti? JC, there's different shows that I have. Some of the shows have me talking, and I talk a lot. It's just me talking. And some of the shows I have people, and I bring them on for their expertise, and I'm the interviewer. So I hope you watch all the shows and like all the shows. I want you to watch all the shows, but I want you to understand there's shows that I don't go. I watch some people, some of their shows, but not all of their shows. Like I watch some of their shows that I like because it's a show like I might like that person when they talk, or I might like their show when they have people on, right? Or both or none. So when I have Dom C on and Adam on, I'm bringing them on for a reason, right? So it might not be your favorite, but it's not like I still always do my shows where I'm talking. And these guys stay in the chat and support me when I'm doing that. And they understand that that's one of the reasons I created a channel. But I also have a format where I bring these guys in for a reason. I don't bring them in to sit there quietly while I talk. So I just wanted to clarify that. And I think that they make overall, most people would agree, they're making the channel a lot better because they're bringing in a lot of deeper perspectives. And that's like part of the whole idea of what I'm trying to do for everybody. I'm trying to bring in people I find that have really good insight and bring depth to the show.
It's just a whole lot of fun. Yeah. I mean, considering that, you and I both live out of state, out of the New York metropolitan area, it's not like we're surrounded by Jets fans, when we go to work, when we go to school, when we're hanging out at the bar or wherever it is that we're going. Yeah. So this is our community. This is our interaction because let's be honest, Facebook, whatever, message boards, it's very impersonal because you're just reading the words. But when you have this, it feels like a more real interaction. And that's the kind of stuff that, I miss having. So that's one reason why I love it like I do.
Yeah. He's saying that you're a little feisty. Well, you know what? I got to say, Dom C watched a ton of tape. So he's one of the most informed people. Like the first thing I did, I'm not going to lie to you. The first thing I did when we signed each of these guys today was I went right to Dom C in the text. I said, "Tell me, is he good? Is he good?" Like I don't know shit about these guys. I'm like, is he good? I'm so hyper focused on the Jets that I don't do the research on everybody's safeties and everybody's cornerbacks. I went right to Dom C and I said, "Tell me about this guy. Who is this guy?" I thought also that we paid $14 million a year for Whitehead. When I found out it was 14 for the 2 years, I was really happy.
Yeah.
Rusty and Jay and Young Spaghetti, wink, wink. They basically taken the chat over. It's like everybody else is just like sitting back, watching. Let's just watch this disaster unfold between these two. Okay, and Grandizer's sending them a little bit. T-Rich, yes, T-Rich.
They're becoming.
What a pickup he was.
I have a friend named Harrison Glasser. He's a YouTube provider of Jet Spitfire. I watch his stuff. I like him. He's a good guy. We've become very friendly. He's gotten Jet players on his show. And he's not a huge channel. He's not like he has thousands of subs. There's ways to do it. He got Foley Fadokasi last year before the season started on his channel. It was really impressive. So he's gotten some people. He also got DJ Bien on his show. Sack Exchange, right, was building up this following on Twitter, and everybody says, "What's he doing? What's he doing? What's his purpose? Why is he giving away all this free stuff? What's his play? What's his play?" Everybody has reasons for what they do. Not saying he's not a generous, awesome guy that loves to give things away, but at the end, then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, in the past month, he created this lounge on Twitter, and he gets hundreds of Jet fans on listening. And yesterday he had Rich Cimini, he had Boy Green, he had DJ Bien, he had Harrison, or whatever, the fullback that you're talking about from the Eagles. He had this guy on yesterday. He had Tony Richardson, and somebody else from the Jets after show. So it's amazing that these guys are starting to see it. They're starting to not only go to like TV channels, they're starting to recognize YouTube as a legitimate content provider and as a legitimate source and an outlet of talking and talking and communicating with Jets fans. It's one of the reasons why I would love to grow the channel, because even though they're willing to do smaller channels, there's no question the bigger your channel, the better chance you have of landing, one of those kind of guys. And how cool would it be if I could bring that, right? And we had the three of us, and the fourth person that comes on with us is a current New York Jet or a former New York Jet, like a Wayne Corbett. Like, how ridiculous would that be? And exciting. That would be so exciting for all of us.
Yeah. What we'll wind up is we'll get like Cimini on the show, be like, so have you heard of Boycott the Beat? And what do you think about it?
I got to say, Cimini, when in that venue, I appreciate that he comes on into that lounge and everybody is being very respectful. I mean, there's only a few speakers, so the listeners can't really do anything. But Sack Exchange is being very good to him. Like they're hosting him very well, and he's actually coming off okay, Cimini. Like I had no problem with what he was saying yesterday. Like when he was talking, everything he said, I was like, okay, fine, I have no problems with that. He wasn't sitting there trying to throw out rumors or anything. He was backing up a lot of what he does and a lot of what he writes, and he was doing it well. So I was okay with Cimini yesterday on that call.
I just can't. The one thing about Cimini that I just can't get over is like everything is always so doom and gloom, right? There's just such a negative connotation around anything, and maybe he's just it's just beaten into his brain that everything around the Jets is negative. But that's the one thing that I can't take about him. Even when we're talking about today, I tracked some goings back and forth between him and DJ, and they were talking about like the pick, and DJ asked him like after the Whitehead signing, DJ asked him, Reed and Whitehead, are they good now? And he's like, no, they're not good. They're better than they were, but not good yet. I'm like, come on, man. Like, throw somebody a bone once in a while.
Yeah.
Like a grumpy old man.
Yeah. I mean, there's no question that he has the added piece where he has to, and he comes from the old school way where you needed a headline. That was the way it was, right? That's the way newspapers were. Yeah, you chased the headline. You needed a headline that caught the reader. And then when it went to the internet, it was the same thing for clickbait, right? It was like you needed the headline to get people to click. And that's the way you're trained. And we're deeper Jet fans. We're not like the casual fan that wants to see a big headline and read an interesting story. There is a whole portion of the Jets fan base that wants to dig very deep. And it's very hard for us to read something that was very clickbaity that says, oh, Zach had the lowest completion percentage in this situation on third downs, that then makes no mention of the lack of protection, the drop passes. And when you're us and you know that was the reality, it's very upsetting because you feel that he is almost lying because he's leaving out that critical information. And it's not really being honest. And he's creating this perception where now you have people reading the paper saying, yeah, we got a lousy quarterback. He stunk. He was the worst on third down. And there's a lot of fans who don't analyze the way we do and are not looking as deep into it. And they don't know that it's simply not true, that you have to look at those other factors. How much time did he have? How many drop passes were there? There's so much that goes into all this. And that's, it's sometimes hard for us to read. It's hard for me to read. And it's funny because then a week later, he'll write an article that says Zach Wilson had the least support around him than any other quarterback, right? He goes the other way and he does a completely different article, but like it's just to get clicks. He's trying to get readers.
He knows all the information. It's just a matter of knowing what information to release when, not emptying the notebook, knowing what to use when in order to suit the purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not that complicated. It's really not a complicated deal. It's really not.
Right. When you're a fan, you don't want to have one half of discussion. You want to have the full discussion. So. Yeah.
Well, boys, it's 1 a.m.
Yeah.
I gotta hit the sack.
Yeah, I agree.
Guys, thanks for jumping on with no warning. I hope everybody out there enjoyed the I can't even talk anymore. I hope everybody out there enjoyed the after show. So we will be back tomorrow for Wacky Wednesday. I have a surprise guest. Me and Adam will be back. Sunday will be interesting. Me and Domsey are going to think of something different we could do for Sunday, because now we're going to have pretty much all the free agency. Most of the free agency will be done, and maybe we'll create a PowerPoint or something with what we have, and we'll create like a final roster after the draft that we do on Sunday.
Perfect.
Sound good now?
Sounds good, man. Sounds good.
Great.
All right, everybody. Thanks, everyone. Everybody take care. Good night. See you tomorrow. Delaying because I didn't find my video that I want to play yet. Here we go. Take care, everybody. Oh yeah. Go. Amazing. That's my boy. That's my boy.
He breaks away from a sack and completes the pass for first down.
Kittle just may have made the most amazing catch.
He fights for the first down and gets out of bounds too.
It's no good. Overtime. Oh, what a catch. How do you drop that? What are you, Jamal Adams? Touchdown.
This is a touchdown all the way.
He reached over the pylon. San Francisco beat Cincinnati.